Chapter 1241 Dragon Form. Chapter 1241 Dragon Form. Proofreader Papatonks. Pick your targets. Charge. Having long been ready, Murong Lai and the rest shouted with zeal, each after one dragon expert. The rest followed after them. The elders gasped. You didn't explain to them who we are. I did. The muscled guy shook his head. It's because of it they don't fear us, wanting to fight us instead. For crying out loud, what is wrong with them? These humans don't even respect us. We'll have to cull 100 and make an example of them. Elder Bai Ling roared, letting his hand drop at the incoming Luo tide, with him taking the lead to charge. Attack! These humans must have forgotten our might after so many years. Let them suffer for it. Draconic roars littered the sky, as the 24 dragon experts followed him into battle. Boom! The savage shockwave shook the space as it spread from the impact. The 24 dragons were up against hundreds of Luo clansmen, with even the elders facing 3 or 4 sword kings. This showed a clear contrast between the two races, with dragons tens of times stronger. The shock, however, came for those prideful dragons. Divine Dragon Sweep. Elder Bai Long unleashed a mighty palm. An image of a hundreds of meters long draconic tail lashing out appeared behind, leaving spatial distortions in its wake. Under such power, the landscape would change for thousands of miles, with the Luo clan's town flattened. Decimating lash. Vaulting dragon cleave. Sundering lightning. Murong Lai, Danqing Shun and Bailey Yulei intervened with their imperial mark made of their sword arts. The dragon tail broke down into nothing. Elder Bai Long shuddered back 5 steps and looked back in shock. It can't be. 3 peak human emperors blocked my attack. They're not your normal emperors for sure. Elder Bai Long was grave, now understanding why these folk were so antagonistic. They were freaks. The other side faltered 5 steps as well, looking at the elder with thrill and astonishment. That's a dragon saint for you. They could only fight him together. It didn't matter though, for in a spar, one had to go all out to make the most of it. This was the expert that could test their limits and unearth their potential for more. The trio's eyes burned with battle lust. Hei Long and Qi Long met their own match, looking just as dark. As for the other 20+ dragon emperors, they had to contend with normal Luo clan emperors, tens of them each. As the ardent fight went on, the proud dragons realized these humans weren't normal. They doubted they could even beat them at this point. The muscled guy who started it all sighed. What have we gotten ourselves into? This isn't just some normal human gathering. Their power is beyond human, close to that of spiritual beasts. The 3 elders were beyond mere dragon emperors. Yet 3 to 4 humans could hold them back while other dragons couldn't. Ancient experts. Elder Bai Long fought with Danqing Shun's group a few more times and turned grave. Hei Long and Qi Long nodded. The rest were dumbstruck, keeping away from their battles for now. The muscled guy with ruined arms flashed to the elder's side and asked, Elder Bai Long, what is this about ancient experts? In ancient times there were humans that could fight sacred beasts and dragons. Among them were the 10 ancient sovereigns, who could surpass even the 5 sacred beasts. Bai Long spoke. All the cultivators under the 10 sovereigns had the power to fight us dragons. But after the bloody war many perished. The strength of spiritual beasts and dragons is innate. We hadn't changed, while humans lost their roots. That's why humans today are weaker than spiritual beasts. Even if you take the strongest and loftiest of the 7 sacred mountains, they still can't. Hei Long said, they remind us of the fights with the ancient humans. It'll be hard to beat them if we keep holding back. Dragons, assume your true form. We're going all out. Dragon form? The dragons gasped. That was their true nature, meaning their power would be on another level. They were strong to begin with in human form, handling other equal-stage human cultivators with relative ease. They only went full dragon when they had no choice, uncaring of the shame of having their bodies harmed. They were just too prideful to admit that the weak humans were worthy of seeing their true form. Since antiquity, around 500,000 years ago, the last time this happened was when the 7 sacred mountains came charging in. Now it was going to happen again today, when they weren't even pushed back. Isn't this overestimating them a little? Elder Hei Long. I don't want to hear it. Since they have ancient expert strength, we'll fight them for real. Hei Long's eyes were firm, turning to the other elders. They say ancient dragons fought with humans using their true bodies. What do you think? The others nodded, agreed. The elders jumped out of the fight and into the skies. With a roar, their bodies glowed white and soon revealed themselves as 3 huge red, white, and black dragons with unspeakable aura. Their tails swish sent cutting winds. Under the fierce winds, the Luo clan town threatened to crumble. They're now tens of times stronger. Dan Qingshun gasped in shock. Fellas, this looks bad. It's no longer a spar now. 3 of us aren't enough to take even one. Morong Lai's face twitched, sweat trickling down his brow. Yeah, dragon saints are no pushovers. We have to stop them somehow before they ruin the town. We just got a foothold on sacred domain, but now it's about to be destroyed. They all gave grave nods. You should be proud of forcing us into our true form, Luo clan, but now it's over. The wounded muscled guy had a sinister grin of disdain. We once faced 1,000 saints with 100 true dragon saints, destroying a mountain. While only the elders remain, with the 24 dragon emperors you're finished. A true dragon emperor is enough to face your saints, ha ha ha. The muscled guy roared and turned into a 100-meter-long earth dragon. His 2 claws were wounded, but was still more than enough to handle the normal Luo emperors. Following his action, the rest of the dragons changed as well. The sky was now filled with huge dragons, ready to unleash destruction upon the world. Looking at the incoming apocalypse, the people's hearts sank, their brows locked, and their breathing heavy. Leave the dragon saints to me. Former sword kings like you should have no trouble dealing with the dragon emperors, or there'd be no point in you being here. A lazy voice sounded as slow steps approached. Chapter 1242. Injuring 3 dragons. Chapter 1242. Injuring 3 dragons. Proofreader Papatonks. Who? The black figure floated into the coming storm. Bai Long's eyes shone, and he swished his white tail at the heads of the humans below, like a scythe to reap their lives. Whoosh! The huge tail unleashed a terrible power, crushing the city's walls to dust. Dan Qingshun's group was grave yet didn't dodge. Whoosh! A black light shot out of nowhere, and met the tail. What? Bai Long felt his huge and all-powerful tail come to a halt from something beyond his control. He even felt pain from it. What is going? Bai Long was shocked, watching as white scales fell down and blood spurted everywhere. Not just the sensitive dragons, but even the humans were overwhelmed by the scent of blood. The dragons gasped at Elder Bai's red tail. How did it get hurt? Who did that? Get out here now! Bai Long roared with bloodshot eyes. One strike had him bleeding. It was but a flesh wound, but that was a power neither of the ones below had. He couldn't believe the Luo clan had an even greater expert than these. And by the looks of his wound, he could kill dragon saints. Bai Long was grave, with the other 2 growing tense. Just what is the Luo clan? How many experts do they have? A light footstep sounded in the stillness, revealing a wicked grin, and on the face of an 8-year-old. Ha ha ha, I'm Dad's sword. Cause trouble here, and you'll be leaving in pieces. Dragon saints sure are amazing, only getting your scales peeled when it should have killed you. That's one tough body. A child? Bai Long gaped. Did he shoot that sword attack? A damn child harmed me? Is the Luo clan filled with one freakier monster than the next? Was it you who harmed me? Dragon saints are strong and renowned in the sacred domain. I guess with Dad away, I'm the only one in the Luo clan that can harm you guys. Got a problem with that? Sword Child gave a taunting smirk. Or do you believe that anyone here can hurt you now? What a bummer. Since anyone can kill you, are you worms or dragons? Ha ha ha. How dare you? Hei Long roared in fury, flicking his tail at Sword Child. Have a taste of this then. Feel free to dodge, but your town will be no more. Be buried with the rest of them. Who? A huge shadow came crashing down, overshadowing the sun. Sword Child smiled and charged at Hei Long with his right hand shining black. Then why don't you try my power? Dragons and sacred beasts aren't the toughest in the world. I have the strongest body, ha ha ha. Apocalyptic sword. Bam! The oversized black tail clashed with the tiny sword child in a glorious explosion. The shockwaves spread everywhere and warped the skies, with the dragons forced back under the pressure. What monster is he? How can a child take on Elder Heilong's tail? Did he just say he's Dad's sword? Does that make his dad a god? You're saying the Luo clan's true expert hasn't come out yet? The dragons were shocked to the core. Have we rushed things by coming here now? How were we supposed to know there was such a mighty faction hiding here? Their shock didn't stop there, watching with bugged eyes as a black figure punched through the huge tail, bearing a wicked grin. Heilong howled in pain and anger. Holy hell! He hurt another dragon saint, and this one's much worse. How is the kid so strong? It's harrowing. Danqing Shun's side grinned. Sword Child was something the sacred domain had never seen. A sovereign weapon. The limited cultivation was lacking against a dragon saint, obvious from the shallow wound his sword strike left. When it came to sharpness and hardness, he was unmatched even by sacred beasts, let alone some wiggling reptiles. Using his body as a blade, the bloody outcome was more than obvious. No matter how hard one trained their hands, they couldn't break a nail. Danqing Shun's group sneered at the two wounded dragons. Dragons pride themselves on their toughest bodies, but look where that got them, ha ha ha. Pa! Sword Child looked smug at his handiwork, but then a shadow loomed over him, and he found himself unable to move. A red dragon stared down at him and clawed. Elder Qilong took advantage of his lapse in judgment to grab him. Elder Qilong smirked. Ha ha ha, brat, you're too cocky. Humans are tricky with their many and strong martial arts, but your bodies are frail. I don't know what art you pulled to hurt them, but I got you now. I need to just squeeze in your paste. What's holding you? Sword Child taunted with a raised eyebrow. Few things can kill me in the world, but squeezing ain't one of them, hee hee hee. The huge dragon eye twitched and Qilong raged. You got spunk, so allow me to share with you the feeling of having all your bones crushed. Qilong squeezed hard. His claw hardly moved even as he strained to make a fist. Something was stopping him from doing it. What the hell? Qilong used two claws this time to no avail. Sword Child rubbed his chin in a most condescending way. Old timer, any harder, and you'll be breaking your knuckles. My bones are the toughest there is. Damn brat, don't get cocky. No matter how tough humans are, they can never reach a dragon's level. Qilong couldn't accept it, squeezing with more strength. The rest just stared. Sword Child yawned, feeling no pain at all. He found it more amusing to give the straining dragon a taunting look. After having enough of trying, Qilong huffed and relaxed his grip, knowing how futile it all was. Sword Child's eyes shone with bloodlust. Qilong! Bai Long cried out. A black sword wave shot through the red claw and showered the skies in blood. For large rough talons rumbled as they landed on the ground. Qilong wailed like a banshee. Sword Child flew up and laughed. I told you so, old timer. Now you broke your fingers. Chapter 1243, The Real Monster. Chapter 1243, The Real Monster. Proofreader Papatonks. Everyone gasped at this unbelievable sight, their hearts jumping from shock. The dragons felt fear as Sword Child's cold eyes snapped on them. What abomination is he? Elder Qilong's hardened claw ended up without 4 talons under his attack. It's nothing short of a fairy tale. You're saying the brat is tougher than a dragon saint? He can't be squished. Is he not human? He was not, so there was no point for you to even try. Danqing Shun's group knew this best. Sword Child's display still sent them reeling in shock. He's a chip off the old block for sure, using the same tactics and toying with the enemy. The dragon saints fell for the enemy's scheme, and played to his rhythm instead of their own. Sword Child was an emperor, but had the body of a divine sword. The dragon saints could have just used their powers to wipe out his soul, and be done with it without a hassle. This was where excessive pride in their draconic bodies got them, thinking it infallible and suffering for it. Qilong kept howling in pain and fury, looking at Sword Child with savagery. The other 2 elders were just as hateful, looking at him for a sign of weakness. Dragons attacked together. Destroy the Luo clan. Give the city no quarter. Qi Long roared, giving a bloody order. The rest howled and charged. Endless dragon breaths were spewed as they came down upon the humans, with no end in sight. Danqing Shun's group jumped to stop it. Clan guardians, destroy the enemy before they call for help. The Luo clan and the dragons were at war. The testing and training was over. There was no honor here, no mercy, only revenge, for the ruined claw, for the heavy wounds. The dragons could take on 10 easily, while the Luo clan outnumbered them 10-1. Danqing Shun and the other true experts could also take one dragon alone, boosting the Luo clan's morale. In this war, both sides were equally matched, with neither giving an inch. The 3 dragon saints grew grave from above. They came here ready for this, but even they did not expect to meet such strong opposition outside of facing the sacred mountains. The outcome of this war rested solely on their strongest from each side, the elders and the freaky child. Once we beat him, we can just mow down the rest of them. The same applies to the kid, killing our dragons like nothing. The fate of both sides rested on just 4 people. Bai Long and the elders flicked their tails and shot for Sword Child together. A spectator would think dragons have lost all their honor to gang up on a child. Aren't you 3 the elders on top of the dragon clan? You're ganging up on a frail boy? They couldn't care less, for this boy gave them a bloody lesson. Rather than wait for the him to take them down one at a time, they would finish him then and there. Bam! Hei Long took the lead and hissed as he whipped his tail at Sword Child, sending him hurtling. Bai Long waited behind to claw him, and sent him reeling in another direction. The intense shock of the blow got his body shaking, though he didn't care, since it wouldn't hurt. Physical attacks were useless. The dragon still didn't get it after all this time. Qi Long shot ahead of him, and struck with savage fury many times stronger than before, sending him flying again. Sword Child was treated like a ball, passed around between the 3 dragons thousands of times. A human would have been reduced to nothing ages ago, while Sword Child didn't even feel an itch, sneering at them. After bouncing him around tens of thousands of times, the dragons grew tired and stopped. For crying out loud, what is this kid? We've been attacking him for so long, but can't even hurt him. Is he even human? Qi Long panted hard, while the other 2 nodded. Sword Child snickered, drawing 2 fingers and cutting the air with them, letting out a whistling and metallic sound. Had enough, old-timers? Now it's my turn. Sword Child shot for Qi Long. I took 4 talons last time and now I'll have the entire claw, ha ha ha. Qi Long suffered once, and leaned out of the way and dodged with his tail. Sword Child's finger slashed a black sword wave, and took some of his scales along with blood. Not bad. Didn't think you'd be so nimble with such a huge body. Sword Child taunted, slashing where Qi Long dodged. A shame my sword isn't so easy to avoid. Whoosh! A sword wave shot from his finger, right for the huge dragon. Qi Long shook in horror. While it wasn't Sword Child's direct attack, he still couldn't take it on. He might end up cut in half. In this critical juncture, he couldn't dodge and blocking was ill-advised. He took a deep breath and blew, releasing a scarlet glow, draconic wave. Bam! The 2 attacks met, and with a resounding boom, they shook everything around. Qi Long shuddered and looked grave, while Sword Child got pushed 10 feet back, looking a little flushed. Bai Long lit up and cried. Look, the kid got pushed back and seems to be in some pain. How come? We pounded him thousands of times already, and it didn't even scratch him. Hei Long frowned. Bai Long said, I got it. His reaction is due to using our powers. It's not his body that reacted, but his soul. He has a tough body beyond ours, but his soul is only that of an emperor, not so monstrous. Use soul attacks and he'll die. Right. We've gotten so used to dealing with humans with our bodies, that we forgot about attacking his soul. Now that we found such an abominably tough opponent, we'll have to learn from them and use soul attacks, ha ha ha. Hei Long mocked. Qi Long lit up as well and grinned. Sword Child frowned, his heart sinking as he inched away. Crud, the fools found me out. Not even 100 dragons could break my body, but my soul. Sword Child looked around, searching for Danqing Shun or the others to join up and defend his soul. The 3 dragons found his weakness and instantly unleashed 3 red, black and white glows at him. Draconic wave. Sword Child's eye twitched, and he dodged once and twice, only to find himself in front of the last, blocking his retreat and forcing him to face it. He swung his fingers before the scarlet glow, blocking it, but that action shuddered his soul and messed with his tempo. The 3 glows combined just then and appeared once more. SSS. Sword Child gasped inside, with no chance to dodge. Blocking the combined attacks would leave him gravely wounded as well. He was stuck. Something the 3 huge dragons relished. The freak is done for, hee. 5 colored dragons joined together formed a black mirror, right in front of Sword Child. Dad! Sword Child cheered while the dragon's heart sank. Dad! Does that mean the real monster is here? Chapter 1244. Heaven-Devouring Wraith Mirror. Chapter 1244. Heaven-Devouring Wraith Mirror. Proofreader Papatonks. Boom! The combined attack of the dragons landed on the mirror, making it shake a bit. Black energy then formed vortexes on its surface, sucking up the power into those abysses. This can't be. The 3 pairs of huge draconic eyes shuddered in disbelief at the weird mirror. Domain Soul Imperial Mark, it can devour anything. Even so, we unleashed our draconic waves, not something a mere Imperial Mark could absorb. Just how was that Domain Soul formed to be so tough and take it on? Hei Long cried out, staring at the black mirror with fear. The kid's father is a monster as well, defying all logic. Whoosh! Rumbling came from the mirror as black dragon claws emerged from the vortexes, shooting straight for the dragons in the sky. Crack! The dragons were still out of it, only waking up when there were 5 black claws on them. Those claws were hard as diamonds, making the dragon emperors unable to break out of them. What the hell are these things? Ack! The black dragon claws pulled one dragon into the mirror. He howled just before his end came, followed by many other dragons. The sky was filled with draconic howls 1 second, then eerie still the next, with the sun shining on the remaining 3 dragon saints. The dragons in Danqing Shun's group gasped. What kind of imperial mark did Zhuofan make? How is it that insane? We barely get to hold our own against one, yet he finishes all of them like nothing. This is the power of the pillar of the Luo clan. Clap. The dumbstruck humans and dragons snapped out at the sudden sound. They found out the dragons had black claws on them as well, unable to break free. They got to experience for themselves the terror of their fellow dragons. The claws were stronger than them, but they still couldn't get why a human would have such a deadly imperial mark. They didn't have the time to make sense of any of it, stuck in a dire situation. Despite being saints, these humans could actually kill them, especially now that the true monster was here. The 3 dragons exchanged a glance and used all their power to fly around. Clap! The black dragon claws that foiled dragon emperors stood no chance against the saints, breaking down. Despite that, they chose to flee with a flick of their tail instead of pursuing the fight. Curses, we screwed up badly. Just you wait until we're back with a real army. Then we'll flatten you and rescue our people. Leaving so soon? I'll go stop them. Sword Child sneered. Sword Child, stop. I'll do it. A shout reached him. Whoosh! Zhuofan flashed in the sky, and the heaven-devouring wraith mirror entered his body. Looking at the parting dragons, he had a nasty smirk. He vanished from his spot, and appeared before the trio. So fast. The dragons stammered from shock. What skill was that to catch up to a dragon saint's speed? Is he that monstrous? He won't be easy to deal with. But we're not about to just keel over just because you stopped us. Humph. Even the human saints have trouble against us. The 3 demons shared a look and flicked their tails as they charged. Fighting against an unknown like Zhuofan could lead to annihilation, but a sudden charge was not something a human could stop either. The sudden display of power caused the sky to sport black cracks from the 3 waves of light, while the world around was devastated by a fierce storm. Alas, they happened to meet not just anyone, but Zhuofan, who inherited 4 sovereign paths. Raising his Qilin arm, Zhuo Fan stood calmly, giving off an eerie vibe as the unleashed storm had no effect on him. Qilin Tyrant Fist. He faced the mighty attacks with but a fist. It flashed scarlet for a moment, then it exploded like a volcano. Boom! The world around them shook under the deafening explosion, with the sky now replaced by a gigantic black hole. The dragons felt their heads overcome by a searing pain as blood flowed down their faces. The huge bodies spun a dozen times before they could straighten and look at Zhuo Fan's grin with fear. How is this possible? He's just a peak emperor and blocked us with a punch. Just how? They recalled Sword Child. This guy is the freak's father. Then he must be even worse. His son's body is an abomination, and so must the father. The dragons grew tense, their blood running cold. This is bad. We might not get out of this alive. The audience was bug-eyed. Just a punch stopped the three dragons. Steward Zhuo is even more of a monster now. Damn it, why are we even further behind him? Bailey Jingtian gnashed his teeth. Bailey Yulei chuckled and shook his head. Bali Yu entrusted him to look after Bailey Jingtian. Now there was no point. Each time they broke through, Zhuo Fan would always stand the highest. It got so bad that it became a gulf between them. Now we can't even touch him. You can rest easy now, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan did not finish the dragons, cupping his hands. Dragon friends, it's been ages. You knew we'd come? Word travels fastest in Gambling Town. News of wielding a dragon-scale sacred weapon would one day reach the dragons, and that would mean you'd come here. You mean this was all a trap? Bai Long gasped. What are you? What do you want? What are you humans up to? Do you want the sacred mountains to wage war with us again? Zhuo Fan had a vague smile. Seniors, we're unrelated to the sacred mountains. I only wish to invite you over for a few days and talk. Anything you wish to say, you can do it back in our Dragonlands. Bai Long shouted with unease. Zhuo Fan sighed. I see you don't believe me. Sorry in advance for making it hard on you elders. Shadow bind. Zhuo Fan flashed next to them, and 3 shadows shot from Zhuo Fan and wrapped around them, preventing them from moving. Chapter 1245 Talks. Chapter 1245 Talks. Proofreader Papatonks. The black mirror re-emerged and Zhuo Fan waved the 3 dragons into it before vanishing. Dan Qingxin sighed. Boy, I knew at the moment I saw you that you were a dragon among men. You've come a long way. So far that you're making all of us old men amazed at your progress. Even the invincible sword didn't make us feel so far behind. The others nodded with envy. Old Dan, you're too kind. I was only lucky to receive senior's guidance. Zhuo Fan smiled, pacifying their downcast moods. Elderly, did you find anything about what I asked? Li Jingtian bowed. Steward Zhuo, forgive me. This turned out to be hard. The area was erased of any clues. Erased? Yes, they say the sky fell 100 years ago, that not one survivor remained from the sudden destruction. Li Jingtian reported with doubt. The strange thing is, any disaster should at least have some survivors. Even if they did die in the end, some clues had to be left behind, or traces of what happened. Yet there was absolutely nothing. The only evidence people once lived there were the merchants that used to pass through fleeing for their lives upon the sudden change in the sky. Zhuo Fan frowned. It was done quite thoroughly. Steward Zhuo, should I continue? No, I don't think there's anything else to find. Zhuo Fan sighed. What cities are Yilin, Yongsanzi and Chao guarding? Call them over, and send someone else instead. Yes. Li Jingtian bowed and left. Zhuo Fan waved for the others to disperse while he returned to his room. He was an emperor now, but he still needed to ponder the 4 sovereign paths. The strong dragons forced him out ahead of time. A month later, Li Jingtian shouted from beyond his door. Steward Zhuo, Yilin, young Master San and young Miss Chao are waiting in the hall. I'll be right there. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone as he opened them. He walked into the hall, and the 3 people there greeted. Father. Elder brother. There's no need for courtesy, just sit. Zhuo Fan smiled. How was it? Was it nice and easy ruling over a city? The trio sneered, with Yilin beginning. Elder brother. There's nothing more boring for us than playing as city lords. We might as well be lords over in the mortal domain, instead of coming to the sacred domain with you, while you've been working behind our backs lately. What's wrong? Zhuofan asked. Young Sanzi mocked. Father, we've been away for so long that only after returning did we find out that those old codgers advanced. We heard you're the cause behind it. Can't you let us enjoy it too? They're all emperors now, having the same strength as we have. Now we fell behind. Who are we to blame for that? Yeah, it's not fair leaving us out of such a grand occasion. Yilin huffed in anger. Zhuofan sighed. Take it easy. That was an accident. I got 4 sovereign legacies, and had to enter seclusion. How was I supposed to know the sovereign paths would light the sky, and help not just me but the whole Luo clan in advancing? You can't expect me to know that. Young Sanzi, you're also sacred beasts, making the insight ineffective. Your bloodline is the most important, so why nag me over this? We just think it's unfair for Yilin. Young Sanzi rolled his eyes and Xiaoer sulked. Yilin nodded. Elder brother, you have to make it up for me. Let me enjoy the grand Dao lights as well. It's not up to me. The paths aren't mine. I can't control it. Zhuofan shrugged, but chuckled at Yilin's downcast gaze. But I can make it up to you in another way to catch up to those guys in no time. A cultivation shortcut. What is it? The 3 perked up. Zhuofan grinned, and as a black energy streaked around, it left behind 24 figures slumped on the ground. The trio looked oddly at them. Zhuofan smiled. Dragon friends, let us talk. How may I call you? Dragons. The trio stared in amazement. Having just got back, they didn't know of the battle a month ago, that the dragons came knocking, and that Zhuofan snatched them up. Looking at the slumped dragons, they felt curious and amiable. Their dragon ancestors' offspring essentially. Who are you? What do you want from us? Bai Long glared at Zhuofan. I warn you, do anything to us and our people will get you for it. Not even you can fight off the dragon land's endless experts. Zhuofan put on a genial smile, bowing. Senior, we have no bad intention towards dragons. Quite the opposite. We're both on the same side? Same side. They all flinched in doubt. We're dragons and you're humans. How's that the same side? Stop playing with us. Zhuofan pointed. Yilin, tell them about your master. Dragon seniors, my master is one of the ancient 5 great sacred beasts, decimating dragon ancestor. Yilin bowed with nothing but respect. The dragons gasped. How can that be? Our ancestor fell in ancient times. Yilin, show them. Zhuofan waved. Yilin lifted a finger, and a golden fire burst out of it. The elders felt the familiar energy and cried out. Yes, it's dragon ancestors decimating golden flame. It's the same fire from our dragon lands. How can you? Elder, did they steal it as well? The wounded muscled guy added. The elders hesitated. Yilin spoke with pride. Master told me sacred beast powers can destroy the world. They can only be imparted, lest one dares be destroyed instead. Stealing? I know that dragon lands hold the decimating golden flame as well. But did any of you train in it? Oh well. Bai Long sighed. Yes, Elder Yin has managed to train an ancestor's golden fire. But 2 years later the flames consumed him. There's no surviving it unless the ancestor himself bestows it, even to dragons. Then he's truly dragon ancestor's successor? They were all baffled by this development. Zhuofan pointed at young Sanzi and Xiaoer. They are Xiaoer and Thunder Phoenix's successors as well. True sacred beasts and not humans. Dragon ancestor even trained them. Zhuofan gave them a look, and the 2 released their auras. A savage red aura covered the city, while purple lightning crackled in the sky. This left them in an even bigger shock. They could feel a power, like no other, forcing them into submission from the 2. Such pressure made their limbs soft and blocked their resistance. Sacred beasts. The elders were beyond thrilled, bowing with the rest of the dragons. They say the 5 great sacred beasts fought with the 10 sovereigns. I can't believe there would be successors. The day for our sacred beasts rises nigh, ha ha ha. The others cheered. The 7 sacred mountains had pushed the dragons around for too long. Once the two sacred beasts matured, they would level them. Zhuofan's face twitched. Dragon seniors, it's too soon to rejoice. What's the problem? We now have sacred beasts, and the time of spiritual beasts is just around the corner. Yes, you have sacred beasts, but humans have sovereigns. Sovereigns? Bai Long said. Didn't they all die? Zhuofan rolled his eyes and sneered. Who told you that? Couldn't they just hide? Anyway, I already met 5 of them. 4 in sacred domain, and 1 in mortal domain. Also, besides these 2 young sacred beasts, the other 3 are still trapped. Attacking humanity doesn't make sense. You'll only let the sovereigns see you and ruin your efforts. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Proofreader Papatonks. The dragons froze in place, with Bai Long shaking. Say what? The sovereigns are still alive? That means humans aren't finished yet. I can't claim all 10 are around, but there's still enough of them. Zhuofan snickered. Their faces twitched with Bai Long sighing. Just who was it that spread the word the 10 sovereigns and the sacred beasts fell? Aren't they still alive here and now? You also mentioned that the other 3 sacred beasts are trapped? Our ancestor. Yes, he's trapped in a place called the mortal domain. Zhuofan spoke gravely. You can tell that we have dragon souls. To form it, dragon power is needed. There's no way for humans to steal it when you're guarding it with vehemence. With dragon ancestor in the mortal domain, only by gathering earth dragon souls to draw out the dragon power will it work. Since he's your primogenitor, drawing dragon power shouldn't be hard. The others nodded. I see. So you all came from the mortal domain? Is dragon ancestor alright? How do we save him? People, he is very much safe. Zhuofan appeased. He can't go out just yet, and sent us ahead to sacred domain. Yet. Yes, he can't break the mortal domain's barrier, but it's quite easy to break his cell. He won't do it because of one man. Who? The creator of mortal domain, the heavenly sovereign. Zhuofan's eyes shone. Bai Long cried out. The top sovereign? He made the mortal domain? It was meant as a prison to confine the sacred beasts. The heavenly sovereign hasn't done anything to them all these years, making his situation unknown. That's why Dragon Ancestor had us go ahead and scout the place for his trail. If the heavenly sovereign is weakened, it'll be the best chance to strike. Also, we've made preparations in the sacred domain to help all of them escape the mortal domain. Then your Dragon Ancestor's envoy, here to help them. Bai Long was excited. Zhuofan nodded without shame. Yes, this is Sir's intent. To wait or strike true. That's why I'm saying we're on the same side. Dragon Ancestor relies on us in the mortal domain, and relies on you in the sacred domain. Will you help us? Of course. Anything for Dragon Ancestor. Bai Long roared, the others joining him in standing tall. It was his life's greatest honor to lay his life for Dragon Ancestor. Yilin sighed. They might look like humans, but they're as simple as spiritual beasts where it counts. Dragon Ancestor has no trouble getting out and coming to sacred domain, but this bro of mine has misled them. He stands for the humans in the end anyhow, not wanting for the sacred beasts to reign once more. If it turned out that the heavenly sovereign was their common enemy, they would return. It all came down to Dragon Ancestor's words, if they could be trusted. Zhuofan offered a hand with a smile. Do we team up? We're all doing this for Dragon Ancestor. That makes us family. Pa. Bai Long shook Zhuofan's hand hard. We will do our all to go with your plan to save Dragon Ancestor. How may I call you? Luo Clan Steward Zhuofan. Dragon Clan's elder Bai Long. Bai Long grinned and patted his chest. You have an impressive body for a human. How did you train? At Dragon Ancestor's favor, he offered me a scale and reforged my body in the golden flames. No wonder, ha ha ha. Bai Long believed him more. With Dragon Ancestor coming, it was a reason to celebrate. After pleasantries, Zhuofan pointed at his people. Our investigation is to thwart the heavenly sovereign, but first we'll need more strength. I ask Elder Bai to take these 3 to the Dragonlands and teach them. They will act as representatives of our cooperation, and to also gather more men. They are 2 sacred beasts and Dragon Ancestor's disciple. They have great authority among the sacred beasts. Of course, Qilin is the head of beasts, Thunder Phoenix and Kuimping oversee the north and south birds. Cao rules the seas and Dragon Ancestor created his race. Most of all the spiritual beasts came from them, and they were once a force to be reckoned with in the sacred domain. Bai Long sighed. Ever since the 5 sacred beasts fell, us dragons were the only ones still putting up a fight against humans, with the birds and beasts scattering. This time is different. With the 2 of them calling them, attacking the 7 sacred mountains will be nothing, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan nodded with a smile. Great. But let's be subtle about it, and not let them catch wind of this. The dragon lands are vital in the sacred domain, with many eyes on them. That's why we didn't come knocking the moment we got here, attracting the enemy's attention. We thus thought of drawing you out to talk. The sacred weapon from a dragon scale comes from Senior Kuimpeng. He must have forged it from a deceased dragon. I ask for your forgiveness. It's fine. We're not petty to mind trifles. It's all for Dragon Ancestor. The dragons didn't mind it. It's unknown when Qilin and Thunder Phoenix will mature, but a war is knocking, and we need all the sacred beasts. Is there a way for them to grow faster among spiritual beasts? Well, Bai Long hesitated. We are the only spiritual beasts able to take human form, and that is because of our precious land, Dragonizing Pool. In the ancient past, when humans and spiritual beasts were at peace, Dragon Ancestor and the Shadow Sovereign made it. It contains the essence of Dragon Ancestor and the core of Shadow Sovereign's path. We are able to find human reflections in its waters, using its power to turn human. Our own strength is greatly improved as well. Sacred beasts can turn human by themselves, but if they can go through the Dragonizing Pool, taking in Dragon Ancestor's power, it will deepen their form. The Shadow Sovereign's path is truly intricate, not only dividing people into flesh and soul, but shadows as well. By bringing out the power of their shadow, they can maximize their potential. Dragonizing Pool is a true masterpiece of cooperation between a sovereign and sacred beast. Zhuo Fan nodded and rejoiced inside. Great! Yi Lin, you guys got your wish, receiving a dragon's favor to make up for your weakness. The trio nodded with eagerness. Elder Bai, what of the Fountain of Youth? One dragon spoke. Zhuo Fan turned to him. Fountain of Youth? Yes. Bai Long wore a heavy frown. The Fountain of Youth had been passed down in ancient times by its creator, the Child Sovereign. Those that bathed in its waters will remain young and strong for all their lives, even in seniority. The Fountain of Youth helps one's heart as well, shedding away all worries and attaining inner peace. When humans cultivate in the fountain, their hearts will not be plagued by any negative emotions, heightening their insight towards a sovereign path to incredible degree. I believe that by taking the young sacred beasts there, they would reach their peak even faster. Zhuo Fan laughed. Not just them, but us as well. But will the dragons share it with us? Ha ha ha. Steward Zhuo, you jest. The Fountain of Youth has long since left our hands. What's there to share? Wah! 500,000 years ago, the 7 sacred mountains stole it from us. Bai Long sighed. It is now locked in the 7 sacred mountains, with only their most important people going in. Each sacred mountain takes up duty to protect it every year. There's no way for us to enter, but now we have the 2 young masters, and we can amass troops to raid the 7 sacred mountains, taking back the Fountain of Youth. Nodding, Zhuo Fan's eyes burned with battle lust. No matter where the heavenly sovereign is right now, we shall take the 7 sacred mountains first. Please return and be ready. I will work from my end. My thoughts exactly, Steward Zhuo, ha ha ha. The elders laughed and cupped their hands. They would finally get revenge on the 7 sacred mountains after all these years of torment. They couldn't beat all 7 mountains, but with the sacred beasts calling the other spiritual beasts, the mountains wouldn't stand a chance. Zhuo Fan talked some more before sending them away, Yi Lin's group going as well. Only Qi Long's wounds were a bit problematic, but Zhuo Fan had understanding of the Shadow Sovereign's path, and using reflection and shadows, he left all of them speechless as he performed miracles. He really is Dragon Ancestor's envoy. Zhua Fan eased up with them gone, having found backing in the sacred domain at long last. He could go up against the 8 emperors without worry of other powers blocking him. Not even the 7 sacred mountains. Chapter 1247 Takeover. Chapter 1247 Takeover. Proofreader Papatonks. Demonic Emperor Sir, Steward Zhua is seeking an audience. What did you say? In Devil Mountain's large and glorious hall, a man in black kneeled before the stunned Zhao Chun. After hearing it a third time he reacted, "That's not possible. Didn't he die in the Nether Sea? How show him in already?" "Yes." Zhua Fan walked it with a wide smile, bowing. "Demonic Emperor Sir, have you been well?" "As Steward Zhua, you're still alive." Zhao Chun laughed and patted his shoulder. "Great, my aid has come back to me. You have no idea how pained I was seeing you crushed. Nights have been hard, the memory is still fresh." Zhua Fan sneered inside but only showed a smile. "You honor me, sir. Go on, tell me, how did you get out?" Zhao Chun's eyes grew suspicious. Zhua Fan made an excuse. "The Nether Sovereign has been an almighty being since ancient times, but he doesn't waste time on nobodies. Everything was but a test. As long as we didn't fear death, he'd let us go. A blessing in disguise." Zhao Chun sighed, then stuttered. "Why is your cultivation at the 3rd layer of qi condensation, Steward Zhua? It was bad enough with only a bone-tempering cultivation, yet now you regressed?" Zhua Fan's regression was a joyous occasion, all thanks to understanding the sovereign paths and his broadened mentality. Zhua Fan sighed. "I had the fortune of passing the Nether Sovereign's trials through a fluke, but as I was so weak, the Nether energy corroded my cultivation. It must have been so hard on you, Steward Zhua." Zhao Chun sighed. "But since the Nether Sovereign let you go, he must have admired your talent. Is there no way of recovering from this?" Zhua Fan caught his meaning, fishing for anything that Zhua Fan might have gotten from the Nether Sea, and wanting to get a bite himself. He finally got to what Zhua Fan wanted, egging him on. "Sir, is insightful to find out that the Nether Sovereign did give me a cultivation method right at the end." "What is it?" Zhua Fan revealed a jade slip. "The Nether script provided critical aid when my cultivation regressed. It says it can speed up cultivation, and should recover my original level in 3 months. Cultivating further, it would be even faster. In 10 years, I'm sure to make some waves." "So magical." Zhao Chun snatched the jade slip by reflex, uncaring that this was another's lifeline. He was no different from a thief. This was the attraction of a sovereign's items, with the whole world lusting after them. Zhua Fan knew this all too well, using it as bait. "Make another's cultivation efforts your own. Absorb it within you." Zhao Chun gasped. "The sovereign's cultivation method is incredible. It can even do this?" "Yes, how else would you get instant results, ha ha ha." Zhua Fan said. "It's a pity my cultivation is too low and I can't take on much. I could only absorb 1 qi condensation cultivator a day. I can't have anyone else know as well, lest I earn public anger. Sir has to be careful." Zhao Chun was too thrilled to care. "Yeah, very careful, ha ha ha. Why would you show me such a dangerous thing? Aren't you afraid I would steal it and silence you? Steward Zhua, you could never make such a basic mistake." Zhua Fan stared hard at him. He was obsessed with the new cultivation method, but not enough to rob him of his mind. Zhua Fan nodded. "Sir is right. The cultivation art isn't a danger to just everyone, but to yourself as well. That's why I wish to share it. I don't need many resources now, but with time the demand will rise as soon as I grow in strength. I could never reveal my new strength, so I need Sir's help." "Makes sense." Zhao Chun squinted at the jade slip. He knew exactly what resources Zhua Fan needed, and that this cultivation method would incite hatred from everyone. At the same time, the lure of power was too much for some to bear. A swift rise was impossible by common means, only through this art. No one wants to part with anything that comes from a sovereign's domain. Tracing the jade slip, Zhao Chun muttered, staring hard at Zhua Fan. "Steward Zhua is right about one thing. Training in this art while avoiding suspicion will only work if you have me covering for you. But now that I have it, why should I help you? The less who know about this, the better." Zhao Chen exploded with power, filled with bloodthirst, and ready to silence Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan said casually, "Demonic Emperor, sir. I wouldn't do that if I were you." "And why not?" "Sir, you need far more resources than me. How many would you procure by yourself? You'll still need someone to help you out. That means letting someone know about this. Can you guarantee they won't sell you out?" Zhao Chen furrowed his brow, his bloodlust deflated. Zhuo Fan smiled. "If sir is willing to trust me, I will help sir in this aspect, training with sir and becoming your accomplice. Exposing it will harm me as well, so we need to work together. Why then would sir kill such a loyal helper and risk taking another that might betray you at any time?" "Steward Zhuo." Zhao Chen's eyes shook and sighed. "You've thought of everything. I have no reason to strike you. Guard." "Sir." A man in black rushed inside and bowed. "Demonic Emperor, sir, what are your orders?" "Everything, my domain and Devil Mountain, are for Steward Zhuo to manage. His word is mine. Let everyone know." The guy flinched. "Isn't that the same as making him the Demonic Emperor? All he is missing is a title. What if he goes for a takeover?" "If Zhuo Fan's word is Demonic Emperor's, what are you going to do, sir?" Zhao Chen barked. "I'm entering seclusion, got that? Let Steward Zhuo handle everything in my stead in the meantime." "Oh, I see. Yes." The man rushed to carry his orders. Zhao Chen turned a snicker to Zhuo Fan. "Steward Zhuo, all my resources are yours. Everything in my domain is at your fingertips. We are truly in the same boat. It'll be bad for both of us to let this leak out. Be careful and at least don't be found out too soon." "Sir, I also train with it. I won't let anyone call me a waste 30 years later, ha ha ha." Zhuo Fan cackled. Zhao Chen had a vile grin. "Steward Zhuo, no one says that. You're already frightening with your courage and guile. But you'll be a force to be reckoned with once you have power. Maybe then I'll even be afraid of you." "You're too kind, sir." Zhuo Fan bowed. Zhao Chen gave him a look then laughed as he left. "Zhuo Fan is sharp to snatch people's weaknesses. Even so, once I get stronger, I won't have to fear any saint and can remove the punk and the danger. But I still need his skills for now." Chapter 1248, Expansion. Chapter 1248, Expansion. Proofreader, Papatonks. Excited to cultivate, Zhao Chen called for a few people on Devil Mountain to enter his chambers, only for them to scream in horrible agony as they died. Zhuo Fan sneered from the outside, leaving for his own matters. Once he got out of the hall, the whole of Devil Mountain kneeled with utter respect. "Greetings, Steward Zhuo. Endless fortunes and everlasting life." In just a few minutes, Devil Mountain knew Zhuo Fan had become the Demonic Emperor's representative, promoted from the head of the 12 demon guards into the crown prince. Everyone conformed with this change, showering with flatteries. Zhuo Fan beamed. "One moment was all it took to lose everything, but I spent a century to gain it all back, ha ha ha." Zhuo Fan shook his head, flicking his hand. "Every town and city within the Demonic Emperor's domain is to be ready for battle. In 3 months, we will go to war." "Yes, sir." The huge crowd roared. After Zhuo Fan took power, all the cities under the Demonic Emperor had a change in management. The Luo clan's high officials were sent to rule them. With their many experts, the Luo clan gained swift control of every inch of Zhao Chen's lands, with the latter none the wiser. The Demonic Emperor had many city lords in the early to late Emperor stage, but the Luo clan had scores of them, with a dozen even possessing obscene strength for their level. A bit of flexing and smashing was all they needed to establish their rule. 3 months. That was how long Zhuo Fan took to usurp all power in the Demonic Emperor's domain. Zhao Chen would have a hard time getting everything back. Zhuo Fan's plan to take over Zhao Chen's forces from the inside was achieved. Zhao Chen would surely shed tears if he knew. Alas, ignorance is bliss, oblivious to the Luo clan's true power. Otherwise he would never have given so much power to Zhuo Fan. "Steward Zhuo, we've taken everything from Zhao Chen and can remove him. No one will raise a fuss." Li Jingtian bowed to Zhuo Fan in a hall, reporting the last 3 months' activities. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone, smiling. "Not yet, he still has uses. Did you send him cultivation resources? I have, but he demands more and more from you. So eager for quick gains to drain them, humph. Zhuofan muttered. It's almost time. March on the Wraith Emperor and the Falcon Emperor's unmanned lands. We will challenge them this time and destroy them. Everyone bowed. Yes, sir. News of war spread like lightning throughout the sacred domain. Under Zhuofan's command, the demonic emperor's army stormed the two emperors' lands. They stood no chance, with 10 cities falling in 3 days, butchering all people in their path. The demonic emperor's army was ruthless and terrifying. Damn you, Zhao Chun. Bam! The Falcon Emperor slammed a table. It's only been a couple days of peace, and now another war starts? The punk was vicious last time as well, pushing us to fight the Enchanting Empress and Sword Emperor to wear each other out. We had no time to recover, and he's coming for us again. The Wraith Emperor frowned hard. We can deal with his treachery, but I fear there's someone even more cunning making things harder. Who? The Falcon Emperor gave him a look and exclaimed, You mean his new right hand, Zhuofan? The Wraith Emperor sighed. Falcon Emperor, have you noticed how despite Zhao Chen's cunning, he was crude and easy to anger? Now though, looking at the previous war and the current one, each step is taken with precise calculations from someone. It's like we're merely puppets dancing to his tune. Why do you say that? Think for a second. Why would the demonic emperor attack us both? Isn't it because he saved his strength last time? And how else did he do it if not by inviting the Enchanting Empress and Sword Emperor to fight for him? The 8 emperors have always been smart not to get involved in pointless affairs. But why did they join regardless? Who brought them? Zhuofan. The Falcon Emperor nodded. He didn't look like much when I saw him as we greeted the saints, but Zhao Chun has always kept him around. He has to be good at something. The Wraith Emperor continued. Yeah, he made a mess of things in the demonic emperor's stead, forcing both of our sides to lose. This time he's sending troops. I heard that the demonic emperor is in seclusion and gave all power to Zhuofan. It means the war was Zhuofan's idea and not his master. The Falcon Emperor's beard shook as he slammed the table. He got some nerve, waging an 8 emperors war whenever he wants. The Wraith Emperor sighed. He really is reckless, for not even the demonic emperor would do this. There's no way an aide would do this. It's like he's the real demonic emperor. The Falcon Emperor gave him a long look and nodded. Yes, the only thing the punk is missing to step on the big stage is strength. Should we just remove him? The Wraith Emperor nodded with a nasty smirk. In a world of strength, being weak meant you were nobody, for anyone could just squash you. Even if you're great at everything else, ha ha ha. Before a room on Devil Mountain, Zhuofan bowed. Demonic Emperor, I've brought what you requested. Rumble. The stone door cracked open after a series of heavy sounds, then Zhuofan stepped in. He grinned at the familiar room as the door closed behind him. A man wrapped in thick black energy sat in center, with a fervent gaze, that of a demented person. After 3 months of cultivating, his aura took a darker and foul air, giving him a sinister vibe, like that of an abomination on the prowl for man flesh. He should be close to going mad at this rate. Zhuofan bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir. Zip it and give me the ingredients. Where are they? Zhao Chun barked, exposing an excited grin, like that of a beast. In a flash of azure, hundreds of people appeared unconscious. Zhao Chun said, So little? That's only 532, where are the rest? Did you use them? You jest, sir, I can only take one a day at most. Why then? Sir, so many people missing is bound to raise suspicions, especially when sir requires high-quality materials. Zhuofan smiled. Now that we're at war with the Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor, it will work as a good cover for any missing people. I'm slaughtering every city I come across, sending everyone there for sir's cultivation. Zhao Chun nodded. Good, very good. If we're at war? Why yes, so that we get even more ingredients. War is the best way to fool everyone. Please don't blame me for going ahead with this. Zhuofan snickered. Zhao Chun squinted, nodding after a pause. It's fine. Nothing matters so long as you supply me with ingredients. Zhao Chun activated his cultivation method, and a dreadful black energy spilled over the people. It wrapped around them before returning over to him, leaving the people to crumble to dust. Zhuofan smiled as he left. Idiot, didn't you always want 9 Serenity's secret records? Now you're training in its core teaching, demon transformation art. Though I did leave one part out. Renounce your old art before training this one. The previous cultivation method would conflict with demon transformation art, and you'll be unable to grasp its essence, that all paths have the same destination. You're too rash in cultivating, taking so many lives and others' cultivation, without even considering if there's a limit. It's only a matter of time before you suffer for your greed. That's why I didn't impart it to you back then. Now though, haha, have your fill. Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Proofreader, Papatonks. Zhao Chun was enveloped in black energy, his mind intoxicated and hazy. He could not see any issues with it, because the power was just too strong, giving him a false feeling of control over the entire world as it grew thicker and thicker, promising him sainthood. Zhuofan sensed his scattered and wild aura. The increase was only in quantity and not quality, blocking any chance of becoming a saint. Zhuofan shook his head as he looked at the closed stone door. Steward Zhua, the saint wants to meet you again. Li Jingtian had been waiting outside to give him a jade slip. Zhuofan read it. Meeting? Saints sure are free. Asking to see me right as I'm at war. Ugh, that damn He Xiaofeng again, staying in Ruby Cloud sect still. Bam! Zhuofan crushed the jade slip to dust in anger. Bastard, he's after Qingqing again. Steward Zhua, will you go? Of course. The least I can do is show a saint proper respect. Show respect? Steward Zhua dealt with dragon saints like nothing. Crushing an entitled saint brat should be as easy as snapping your fingers, ha ha ha. Li Jingtian raised an eyebrow. Zhuofan smirked. Right you are. I have nothing to fear from the likes of He Xiaofeng. But I need to consider the bigger picture, and lay low for now. Why do you say that? He Xiaofeng is an early saint, nobody important, but he has the 6th sacred mountain behind him. We've yet to hear any word from the dragons. Even with them joining us, it'll take time to gather all the spiritual beasts. We need to bide our time. Zhuofan's eyes shone. The 8 emperors aren't united. Being hostile to the sacred mountains now will surround us with enemies. 8 emperors. Li Jingtian jerked. What of it? Every Luo clan elder leading a team could mow them down. Won't that reveal us to the saints as well? Tapping his head, Zhuofan smiled. It will also scare them, turning from being pedantic to stooping to any low and retaliating against us. To resist the enemy, we need to secure our lands. Don't ever forget the lesson of the Sword Star Empire and Bailey Jingwei. By waging war with the sacred mountains, the 8 emperors would be sure to strike back. We have to make our lands strong as iron to avoid any problems. Li Jingtian nodded. Steward Zhua is thorough in the end. Then we'll take the 8 emperors' lands before anything. Yeah, we're to take their lands without them noticing our intentions and plan for it, ha ha ha. Zhuofan snickered at the door behind him, and left with Li Jingtian. Disciple, you betrayed your master and now you'll become bait, drawing everyone in. Whoosh. A month later, 3 people darted beneath the sun as they landed in a forest. Zhuofan, Li Jingtian, and Qiu Yanhai looked at the Ruby Cloud sect's dazzling entrance. Zhuofan said, I'll go pay my respects and keep the saint and the hag busy while you stick to the plan. The rest are nothing. Understood. The 2 bowed. Zhuofan walked in, soon blocked by a few familiar figures. Head senior sister, it's been a while. How've you been? You don't get to call me that. Humph. Fangming glared at him. Where's your guard? Zhuofan shrugged. Look at what you're saying. Do you think there's no one guarding me with my current status? They're only hiding in the shadows. Should I call them out? They may not be hundreds, but 180 there should be, each tough in their own right. I have no fear against some early spirit kings. TCH, you're quite the show-off for a useless demonic emperor dog. You're wrong about that. Even dogs differ among each other. I act in demonic emperor's stead. Can you say the same? While I'm a purebred prize poodle, You're just a flea-ridden mongrel, ha ha ha. You. Fong Min grimaced in anger, wanting to kill him then and there. Zhuo Fan taunted further. I came to your sect at the saint's invitation. Touch me in any way, and not even your master can protect you. Fong Min shuddered and panted, straining to quell her rage. After you. That's better. You're only shaming the enchanting empress by failing to receive guests, hee hee. Zhuo Fan snickered at their furious glares. Where's Qingqing anyway? Why don't I see her? Fong Min got her chance to strike back. You'll never get to see her again. Why do you say that? Zhuo Fan's heart tensed. Fong Min mocked. Junior sister has been promised to the saint, but the obstinate girl doesn't know what's good for her and refused. She even tried leaving, but master locked her up on the snow peak for the time, when the saint takes her away. So you won't see junior sister ever again once she goes to the sacred mountains, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan nodded, having taken this scenario into account and looked back. Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai gave him a signal. Zhuo Fan relaxed. Zhuo Fan taunted Fong Min, so she would let Chu Qingqing's situation slip. The chick was harsh but not too bright though, making it extra easy for him to deal with her. A few slick words got her to spill all of the sex secrets. The enchanting empress has good tastes in disciples. Zhuo Fan smirked, approving of Fong Min, who gave him an odd look. What's with him? I taunted him with Qingqing yet he doesn't care? Had seen your sister. Zhuo Fan said. Why are you so happy that Qingqing is being taken to the sacred mountains? That place is a cultivator's dreamland. As I understand, you should be jealous and stewing in envy from not being picked instead of that dumb girl. What does she have that I don't? Looking at looks, figure, cultivation. And, you'd probably on par, no? Ha ha ha, no wonder there are no men around. PFF. The other disciples giggled with red faces. Fong Min glared and gnashed her teeth, cutting their joy short. You're right. Fong Min sighed. Chu Qingqing has never been stronger than me, ever, but master always spoiled her, giving her everything. The saint also picked her, not even giving me a second glance. Am I so bad? Is she that much better? I don't think so. You agree too? Then why do you all go after her? Objectively speaking, you're better in every way but one. Which one? Birth. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. Because she was and still is Qingqing, her birth made him protect her without fail. It was also her birth, having a sovereign path that made the enchanting empress and saint value her immensely. You could never catch up to her with such a circumstance. Fong Min didn't get it. Birth? Isn't she just an orphan? What's so special about her? Master just took her in is all. Very special indeed. Zhuo Fan was grave. Let me be frank with you. You can never match her background, not even your master. Do you believe me when I tell you that she can make He Xiaofeng destroy Ruby Cloud sect? Even the 8 emperors, the guy would definitely fulfill her every wish to win her smile. How is this possible? Fong Min was dumbstruck. Stop fooling around. A saint would never spoil his girl that much. The 8 emperors in the sacred domain are like the sacred mountains to them. Their death will bring chaos. This isn't spoiling, it's about worth. What does it matter if the world burns, so long as Qingqing smiles? Zhuo Fan gave an eerie grin. This is her background, the one that can topple cities. Why else would she be Chu Qingqing? Ha ha ha. Smiley face. Qingqing means city-toppling beauty. They arrived before the sect's main hall. Zhuo Fan entered with a smile, leaving the girls stumped behind. Is Qingqing that important? Just who is she? Chapter 1250 Rescue. Chapter 1250 Rescue. Proofreader Papatonks. Who? The violent winds carried with them icy snow, pelting the entrance of a mountain cave. Chu Qingqing had a lost gaze as she stared at the dancing snow. She finally sighed with a lowered head. A woman that had aged with grace sat on a flat stone outside the cave with closed eyes. She was like a statue, even as the snow landed on her body. Chu Qingqing stood up and walked outside. She made a sign and struck. Bam! The entire peak trembled, with snow falling from it in every direction. Chu Qingqing recoiled, falling on the ground with a red face. The entrance of the cave now sported a shimmering wall, vanishing right after. The woman shook and all the snow on her fell. Mei Sangda shook her head at the stubborn Chu Qingcheng. I'm sorry that I let you go out the first time. I hoped you'd learn of the world, not have some wicked brat make you lose your way to the point you disobey your seniors. Senior Aunt May, please let me go. I don't want to go to Sacred Mountain. Why? Sacred Mountain has anything a cultivator could want. They lead the sacred domain. All of your sisters are dying to go. You are blessed with incredible fortune, and yet cast it aside. Can't you tell right from wrong? Then let them go instead. Why do I have to go? Chu Qingcheng was forlorn. I don't care about cultivation or growing stronger, because I don't want to go. Mei Sangda could read her heart. Are you still thinking about that brat? Qingcheng, did he enchant you, or give you something for you to fall so badly, after just seeing him a couple of times? I don't know either. Chu Qingcheng watched the dancing snow with a happy smile. Ever since I saw him, I felt drawn to him by familiarity, wanting to be with him forever. I don't care where I'll be and what it'll happen, so long as we're together. Just let me go, Senior Aunt May. Pa! Mei Sangda sighed, face-palming. Qingcheng, you're hopeless. It's Senior Sister who placed the barrier, so even I can't break it. But I wouldn't do it even if I could. It's not just for you, but the boy as well. Think for a moment, a saint has his eyes on you. Do you think he'll get away alive? I don't know how the saint will treat you, but it's certain that he will kill him and the Luo clan. He managed to gain status under the demonic emperor. But can he still withstand the Sacred Mountain's pressure? By going with him, you're sentencing the Luo clan to death. If you truly love him, think about his well-being instead of ruining everything for a brief moment of joy. Chu Qingcheng lowered her head, but she was still vehement. Why does it have to be me? There are so many stronger senior sisters in the sect. Why did that blind saint insist on me? He might really be blind, I know ahem. Forget I said that. I mean that the saint has special tastes. This is your chance. Chu Qingcheng clenched her fists, but slumped in the end as she sighed. Mei Sangda chuckled. She finally gave up, ha ha ha. Whoosh! Mei Sangda jerked, still slow to react as a figure grabbed her by the neck and prevented her from using her strength. Another figure flashed behind her and struck the back of her neck. Mei Sangda slumped unconscious. Chu Qingcheng cried out, Senior Aunt. Miss Chu, Steward Zhua told us not to harm anyone in Ruby Cloud sect. You can relax. The two figures were utterly respectful towards her. Chu Qingcheng stammered. You mean, Zhua Fan sent you? Yes, I am Li Jingtian, a Luo clan venerable, tasked by Steward Zhua to rescue you. I am Qiu Yanhai, also a venerable. The two cupped their hands and smiled. Chu Qingcheng gave a nod. I know you. You were with Zhua Fan in Gambling Town. Did Zhua Fan really send you to save me? Yes. The two echoed. Chu Qingcheng cheered up. How did he know I was kept here? Did my sisters tell him? Miss Chu, your sisters aren't that kind. Steward Zhua's uncanny foresight let us know of the Sacred Mountain's deal with your master after your rebirth. It's the only explanation for their treatment of you. Li Jingtian sneered. Chu Qingcheng's heart sank. She looked up to her master as her own mother. But master made a deal to give me over to the Sacred Mountains. Her heart was torn with grief, making her joy plunge in sadness. Li Jingtian saw she was silent and said, Miss Chu, please stand back. We'll break the barrier, and don't want to harm you. Steward Zhua will never forgive us. Oh, thank you. Chu Qingcheng woke up from her thoughts and took a couple steps back. Seniors, master placed the barrier. Please be careful not to get hurt. Hurt? As peak emperors, these guys only feared Danqing Shun and his group with their monstrous power. The two just chuckled. Qiu Yanhai's hand flashed with a searing flame, shouting, Oldly, the hags used an ice seal, weak to my attribute. I'm more than enough. Stand back. Qiu Yanhai struck with his palm, making it explode in a blistering red. The invisible barrier vanished on the spot. The heat stormed the cave, drying Chu Qingcheng's soft skin, and even making her hair curl. Qiu Yanhai panicked and bowed. Forgive me, miss. I used too much strength. You aren't hurt, are you? No, Chu Qingqing shook her head, amazed at his skill. Senior, you're incredible. Not even Senior Ant could remove Master's barrier, but you did it like nothing. Are you stronger than Master? Qiu Yinhai grinned in pride. Mrs. Too Kind. I'm not that great. Not when there are others in the Luo clan far stronger than me. As for your Master and Seniors, I can handle them, ha ha ha. I actually overestimated your Master just now, and used half my strength. A third would have sufficed. You're that much stronger than Master? How can this be? Master is one of the 8 emperors. Chu Qingqing was shocked at Qiu Yinhai's confidence in bragging. He even said that the Luo clan had many more better than him. Why are they relying on the demonic emperor if the Luo clan can handle the 8 emperors? Was there a clan in this world ever able to surpass the 8 emperors besides the sacred mountains? Chu Qingqing was utterly confused. Qiu Yinhai grinned, but Li Jingtian cut his showboating short. Steward gave us a job. Let's save her and go. All right. Miss, come with us. It's now or never. Qiu Yinhai rushed to Chu Qingqing. She then recalled something and stepped away from Qiu Yinhai. The two were puzzled. Miss, what's wrong? You go, I'm staying. Tell Zhuofan that fate keeps us apart. Why? If you take me, you'll become enemies with Ruby Cloud Sect, and even get the sacred mountains to attack you. I could never forgive myself for getting all your clan killed. Chu Qingqing's shoulders slumped. Zhuofan earned his master's recognition in becoming steward, but I won't harm the Luo clan and him because of me. Go and tell him to not look for me again, and not use his status carelessly. Li Jingtian smiled. They snatched her either way and fled. Chu Qingqing cried out and Li Jingtian shouted. Miss Chu, Steward Zhua has all that taken care of. We don't care about some puny sacred mountains anyway, ha ha ha. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Proofreader, Papatonks. The two rushed away with Chu Qingqing in tow, yet not out of Ruby Cloud Sect, instead slipping near the main hall. A patrol of disciples passed by, and the two knocked them out without a sound. What are you doing? Chu Qingqing whispered. Li Jingtian waved off her concern. Miss Chu, they're fine. Make sure to stay quiet and follow me. The two venerables led her to a hidden spot. Chu Qingqing was baffled, but trusted them since they harmed no one. They reached a hidden part of the wall of the building and looked in through the window. Steward Zhua, you've drunk a dozen cups already? Can we start already? Master. Chu Qingqing gave the two an odd look, seeing them grave. She could only refocus on the scene inside the hall, where Xiaofeng, her master and Zhuofan were. Zhuofan placed his teacup down. This should be enough. I've stalled for an hour now. Should I keep going? Enchanting Empress, your maiden tea is delightful. I can't get enough of it. Steward Zhua, Lord Saint called you here to discuss, not chat over tea. The enchanting Empress's face was dark, glaring at Zhuofan. It all started as courtesy, showing him hospitality, but this guy kept fussing over the tea being too cold or too hot. Then he stuffed himself with snacks, only to ask for a potty break. He was wasting time, no doubt about it, not wanting to get to it. We're all civilized people here, men of status that know courtesy, so being polite was only natural. But this? Zhuofan had been milking their courtesy for an hour now. The two didn't know what he was playing, but their patience was running thin, unable to keep their calm. Bam! Zhuofan slammed the teacup down, raging. Humph, enchanting Empress. Is this how you treat guests? Can't a guy enjoy a nice warm tea around here? Is this Ruby Cloud Sect's hospitality? You've had 18 of them. Yi Xiaofeng's face twitched, snapping. This is the 6th time you used that pretext. Can't you at least change your script? You might like this agitation, but we don't. What are you trying to pull? Zhuofan beamed bashfully. That many? Ha ha ha, sorry, I didn't keep count. Though could I get a refill? Enough. Yi Xiaofeng slammed the table. Zhuofan, I've never seen a more revolting person in my life. I know what your game is, but no matter how much you stall it won't work. It's time you give me an explanation. Why is the demonic emperor attacking 2 emperors without reason? Zhuofan shrugged. The whole of the sacred domain knows it, even the enchanting empress. The two emperors were at odds with the demonic emperor and waged war. If not for Lord Saint interfering, it would have been over by now. Later, Saint took the Nether Sea map, then went back. Sir doesn't have to mix in our squabbles. It's the Sacred Mountain's decision, not requiring discussion with anybody, especially with you. Yi Xiaofeng unleashed his strong aura filled with bloodthirst. Zhuo Fan sneered inside. He can flip out all he wants now, humph. The enchanting empress intervened. Sir Saint, think of everything. If Qingqing finds out about his death, it will make things worse. It'll be bad if she takes her life. Yi Xiaofeng quelled his seething anger. The enchanting empress said, Steward Zhuo, I know you wield all of the demonic emperor's forces, with Zhao Chun in seclusion. It's brave of you to go against two emperors in the demonic emperor's name. But once he comes out, he will make you answer for it. Nothing enchanting empress needs to concern herself with. All I do is for the demonic emperor. I started the war with Sir's approval. There's no point in you interfering, ha ha ha. Steward Zhuo, you're burning bridges. The enchanting empress mocked. The demonic emperor has the power to fight those two, because I and the sword emperor wore them out. While you two stood by and watched, we took heavy losses. I can overlook this, but now you want us to stand back. That's not very honest. But it is, since our deal is done. You got your Nether Sea map, so what are you lacking? I don't care about your squabbles. You are forbidden from fighting. Yi Xiaofeng slammed the table again. The 8 emperors are about to change. A few disciples will come down from sacred mountains, replacing some of the 8 emperors. It's unclear who it will be. It's too soon for you to fight for more land. Zhuo Fan said. Replace the 8 emperors? Are you kidding me? The 8 emperors represent sacred mountains, but they are outside of it. They come from every corner of the sacred domain and understand it best. Those entitled saints don't know the first thing about the sacred domain's situation. They lack the experience to handle local factions and quell chaos. It'll be a miracle if the sacred domain won't burn to the ground. It won't be of benefit to anyone, including the sacred mountain's supply. There's sure to be accidents. Are you looking down on us? That's no disdain but fact. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. The sacred domain is a world where the strong rule. But for them to form their faction, they need the skill set for it, to know how to draw people in and feel at ease as their power grows. With the sacred mountains merely observing from above, they don't know anything about how things work down below. With a few reckless commands, the sacred domain's order will be broken, with the people crushed and suffering. Enchanting Empress was touched, with Yi Xiaofeng sneering. No one will stir anything when we come down. We can even replace the 8 emperors with pigs, and there'll still be no objection. You guys only have pigs. You dare disgrace the sacred mountains? Yi Xiaofeng roared. The enchanting empress rushed to stop him, advising, Steward Zhuo, we have no say in the sacred mountain's decision. Their disciples have incredible talent, and might be qualified for our positions. Over time, they will gain their experience and become able lords. Fable you say? When they can't reach sainthood with those top cultivation methods and mountains of resources thrown at them. Zhuo Fan mocked. Even making them into the 8 emperors, while time can give them experience, their mindset will never change. Did they rise from the bottom? Will they listen to others' suggestions? A bunch of pompous pricks will sooner or later destroy everything. Using the sacred domain's turmoil to raise their own people is so kind of the sacred mountain's humph. Zhuo Fan mocked. Yi Xiaofeng sneered, and the enchanting empress sighed. Also, Zhuo Fan continued, Enchanting Empress, they'll send a few to replace the 8 emperors, but next time there will be even more. At some point, all will be replaced. The only land ruled by bottom cultivators will turn over into the hands of those high and mighty from the sacred mountains. Then there will be no end to our torment. The same goes for you as well. It's only a matter of time before only the sacred mountains could produce saints, taking all the highest positions. Yi Xiaofeng mocked. And isn't it now the same? Of course not. The 8 emperors have a share of resources left from the sacred domain, giving hope of creating some saints. But once the sacred mountains take everything, this little hope will be crushed. What chance do cultivators born outside the sacred mountains ever have of reaching the top? Blame it on their birth, for being born elsewhere. Yi Xiaofeng had a sinister smirk. No matter how antagonistic the 8 emperors are, they are to stay put. You can resume once the replacements are here. The other emperors should get word of it soon. No one gets to disobey, not even the demonic emperor, let alone a nobody like you. Zhuo Fan's eyes shone with bloodthirst. He came to see Yi Xiaofeng for another reason, but the sacred mountain's decision infuriated him. In both of his lives, he had clawed his way from the bottom, his pride making him never lower his head to anyone, not even the sacred mountains. For he believed that one day he would surpass those fools. He didn't have anywhere near the resources they had, but he made up for it with effort. This decision, however, would make the common people lose all hope. The resources would be under tight control, and even reaching sainthood would only be possible if the sacred mountains allowed it. There would be no hope to become strong. He didn't know what got the sacred mountains to go crazy and issue such a decision, but Zhuo Fan would be sure to never let them succeed. I need to speed up taking down the 8 emperors. Chapter 1252 History. Chapter 1252 History. Proofreader Papatonks. Taking a deep breath to calm down, Zhuo Fan's gaze went cold. Yi Xiaofeng waved him off with scorn. Go tell the demonic emperor to stop and change his aide, or the first replacement might just be his, ha ha ha. Saint, are you trying to get me fired? No, I just dislike mavericks. Then you shouldn't complain when I overstep. Overstep? Yi Xiaofeng taunted. You're threatening me now? Haha, with what? Zhuo Fan smirked. Oh, I don't know Qingcheng. Chu Qingcheng. Yi Xiaofeng laughed harder. Her? Save it. No girl can ever affect me. Actually, I'm going to threaten you with her. Your defiant nature would have gotten you killed by now. Even if you were one of the 8 emperors. You're only breathing, because I don't want her to know. Once I take her to the sacred mountains, you best watch out, ha ha ha. Chu Qingcheng was furious. This was his plan all along, and I almost trusted him. Zhuo Fan looked back with a smile. Saint Sir, you're too scornful of me. As a puny cultivator, I didn't get into the demonic emperor's good graces by luck alone. You think I'm like you, gambling with a girl's feelings? Too risky. Well, do you have anything else? Of course, Zhuo Fan snickered. The reason why you must have Chu Qingcheng. Yi Xiaofeng shook and grew heavy. The enchanting empress panicked. Zhuo Fan, you can't spout nonsense. Lord Saint came from the sacred mountains for the first time. He passed by the Ruby Cloud sect, found Qingcheng stunning, and was drawn to her. A gentleman and a lady would make for a great couple. That's why he wanted to take her. Yeah, it's that simple. Yi Xiaofeng added. Zhuo Fan beamed. Let's be honest here, since there's only 3 of us. That's an excuse for everyone else to hide the truth and a terrible secret about Qingcheng's history. History, the two cried out, with Yi Xiaofeng looking hateful. What do you know? I know something, but enough, hee. Zhuo Fan gave a sneaky smile. 100 years ago, the sky changed, an omen of great significance. It happened to be Qingcheng's birth nearby Ruby Cloud sect. The enchanting empress went over at once and knew the girl was special, covered in a prismatic glow, taking her for a disciple. Since it was too important, she silenced everyone that knew anything about her, including her parents. Chu Qingcheng held her mouth, unable to believe her ears. The enchanting empress grew dark, cursing. Zhuo Fan, stop vilifying. Enchanting empress, why so nervous? Allow me to finish first. Zhuo Fan continued. The enchanting empress sneaked Qingcheng into the sect to raise her, telling only her backer, the 6th sacred mountain's lord. The lord knew taking the girl would draw unneeded attention, so he set it up for his son to marry her 100 years later. That would get the girl on the mountain with none the wiser. A perfect match between a gentleman and a lady, no ha ha ha. Yi Xiaofeng's face twitched and barked. Rubbish. Why would we do this to Qingcheng? Because you found an ancient and scary record, that she is related to a sovereign path. Zhuo Fan shouted. Yi Xiaofeng pointed at him in shock. How do you know that? The sacred mountains aren't the only ones with ancient records. No, impossible. We only found bits and pieces in our ancient records. Yet your Luo clan under the demonic emperor has. Young master The enchanting empress' sharp voice stopped him, but it was too late. Zhuofan taunted. What did I tell you? The sacred mountains entitled princelings have nothing to them other than their huge backers. That sentence proves everything. Try denying it now. You bastard. You goaded me. Xiaofeng was outraged and filled with bloodthirst. Chu Qingqing can't protect you anymore. You know too much. Zhuofan didn't care he was about to attack. My man-child of a prince, this is your fault. Knowing things doesn't mean death. Try anything and tomorrow. All of the sacred domain will hear about this. Everyone will be fighting over Chu Qingqing. What worth would the sixth sacred mountain be then? Did you forget about the rest of the mountains? Ha ha ha. A bunch of decrepit old fools stuck at peak sainthood will be sure to go crazy at the mere hope of reaching the sovereign stage. Xiaofeng shuddered, glaring at Zhuofan with loathing. The enchanting empress was grave, though amazed at the same time. She cowered before the saints like all the other 8 emperors, but this kid went and toyed with him. But having leverage on a saint could burn him to ashes at some point. He's playing with his life. It would keep him safe for now, but disaster would come in the end. The sixth sacred mountain would not forget this, destroying him and the Luo clan to hide this secret. The enchanting empress continued. I've been cautious to not let anything leak when I did it. How did you find out? The enchanting empress just admitted to everything. Chu Qingqing was about to cry in shock, but Li Jingtian held her mouth, with faint sobs sounding as tears streamed down. Her master killed her parents. You weren't too careful. Someone played dead and escaped. Qingqing asked me to help her find her history, so I did. Zhuofan smirked. He had not the slightest clue, just guesswork. But this proved enough for the two to buy it and admit to everything. Now he could go after Qingqing's sect without issues. The enchanting empress frowned. No, I made sure nobody escaped. There's no way that happened. Are you sure? Why else would he know so much? Xiaofeng cursed. What do you want to keep silent? Zhuofan shrugged. I'll tell you when I figure it out. But I hope nothing bad will happen to the Luo clan and the demonic emperor due to the sacred mountain's decision. Zhuofan left then, laughing just before exiting. You're nothing but an idiot saint. You're not even close to challenging me. Damn it. Bam! Xiaofeng crushed the table. I'm the young lord of the sixth sacred mountain. Yet I can't even touch that blasted bug. This kid is truly frightening. The enchanting empress sighed, waiting for Xiaofeng to calm down before smiling. He's only clever, while beneath you in every other way. Xiaofeng's face twitched, with blood leaking from his mouth. Curses, he is nothing compared to me at all. Is that how you intend to flatter me? Master, this is bad. A disciple burst in. Master, our sisters have suffered an attack and 50 people are unconscious. 50 people unconscious without any sign of who did it? They must be incredible. Search the sect. Yes. The disciple rushed out, just as another entered. Master, Senior Aunt Mei was found unconscious and Junior Sister Qingqing is missing. What? Xiaofeng roared. Chu Qingqing is my sweetheart, raised for 100 years for me alone. I won't have this. I will slaughter any that had a part in this. Xiaofeng vanished before anyone could stop him. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Proofreader Papatonks. Whoosh. In a dense forest, Zhuofan waited as Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai showed up with Chu Qingqing. Steward Zhua. No need for courtesy. Zhuofan only looked at Chu Qingqing, understanding her pain. Qingqing, that's how it is. Don't feel sad, it's all in the past now. Chu Qingqing felt devastated, hugging him hard. Zhuofan, I have no one. I don't have parents and now my master is a brutal murderer. There, aren't I still here? Rubbing her back, Zhuofan softly said. The hag is a pretender now you know. It's good that you're finally leaving her. Just tell me how you want her handled, and I'll help you. Chu Qingqing hesitated. The enchanting empress had taken care of her for 100 years, and was also her master. She couldn't forsake everything just like that, even with this betrayal. Zhuofan was happy with ruining their relationship. Chu Qingqing's attachment to the enchanting empress had hindered Zhuofan's plans for so long, but now he was free to act. Chu Qingqing wouldn't like to know he would kill the hag, but she wouldn't go against it. Zhuofan patted her back, consoling her. You go with them to the Luo clan, where it is safe, so that guy won't take you. Chu Qingqing nodded. Zhuofan was now her only lifeline. Take Miss Chu and protect her at all times. Yes. The elders bowed and held Chu Qingqing's arms before shooting off. Zhuofan grinned. Minutes later, Xiaofeng was darting everywhere to look for any clues. Bastard. He stalled on purpose to confuse me. I won't fall for it. I will catch you and make mincemeat out of you. I will get Qingqing back. Whoosh. A figure blocked his path, making him jerk to a stop. Sir Saint, where are you going? Zhuofan chuckled with cupped hands. Xiaofeng barked. Rotten filth, get lost. This doesn't concern you. It's our greatest honor to serve you, Saint. Tell me what it is, sir, and I may be of help. I'm a saint, dominating the whole of the sacred domain. What could you possibly do to help me? Get lost before I lose my patience. Don't think for a second that you can show off, just because you know my secret that I can't kill you. Know that I can give you a fate worse than death. Oh, I see. Then please enlighten me, ha ha ha. Zhuofan snickered, standing there and blocking his path. Xiaofeng popped a vein. Fine, you asked for it, so don't come crying to me later. Who? Xiaofeng unleashed his mighty saint powers, putting all his pressure on Zhuofan. The dreadful aura would have put normal emperors out of commission from the heavy wounds. Zhuofan stood like it was a breeze that fell on him. A vortex of black energy on him dissipated the saint's power, fully absorbing it. How can this be? Xiaofeng gasped in utter shock. You're just a bug, yet you can wait. You're not in the qi condensation stage? How else can you fly? Zhuofan snickered. There's no way a qi condensation cultivator could fly, let alone block half your pressure. They'd be crushed to pieces instead of still talking to you, ha ha ha. Why you were laying low? Xiaofeng gaped, then turned grave. What cultivation do you have? Around the peak of the emperor stage. Humph, I see. Not bad, but still nowhere close to my level. Xiaofeng relaxed, his pride once again stoked. You still dare block me? Beat it already. Xiaofeng shot for Zhuofan, using all his power, wanting to run him through. A saint had the power to do that against an emperor for sure, though he wasn't against any normal emperor. Xiaofeng clashed with something that felt like a wall, stopping him in his tracks. He looked up with shock to find a hand grabbing him. How is this possible? Xiaofeng was overwhelmed. An emperor stopped me with one hand. Bam! Zhuofan's Qilin arm flicked him 1,000 meters away, making him tumble around. When he recovered, he was grave. What the hell are you? Luo clan steward Zhuofan. Zhuofan smirked, his calmness making even his surroundings tranquil. Xiaofeng was scared. To have such an easy time stopping him meant he had incredible power. I really underestimated him. Xiaofeng frowned and clenched his fists. Sacred body. Xiaofeng shook and exploded in a white light, forming a huge image around him that had 8 divine swords on its back. Xiaofeng held his head high with pride inside the huge figure. The giant hands took 2 flickering swords from its back, each hundreds of meters long, that unleashed biting winds as they were drawn. The enchanting empress had just looked over her unconscious disciples when she froze before shooting off. The saint unleashed his sacred body. He must have met with a great expert. Whoosh! The slash cut the sky as it pointed at Zhuofan. You then know our differences, being a peak emperor. Your imperial mark is nothing before my sacred body. Bring Chu Qingqing back right now, for I have plenty of ways to silence the Luo clan and the demonic emperor. Oh really? Zhuofan mocked him, lifting the Qilin arm with a burning look in his eyes. I'm sorry, while there's no bad blood between us, you are after Qingqing. The sooner you're out of the picture, the better. You don't know, but in Nether Sea, I planned on dealing with you. though I never got the chance. Now haha, you came asking for it. He Xiaofeng laughed. Handle me? You got some nerve. Show me then. How will you handle a saint? Boom! He Xiaofeng slashed his two swords at Zhuofan with the power to rend the world. The world shifted and the sun dimmed, for the end of days was night. Zhuofan was unfazed, showing no reaction. As the blades reached him, his eyes shone and punched. Qilin Tyrant Fist. Rumble. A punch to destroy the world. He Xiaofeng's sword clashed with Zhuofan's punch, and in a flash of red they broke. The space cracked as black scars appear around them from the indomitable fist. As the unstoppable power reached He Xiaofeng, the mighty fist ran him through. The sacred body had a 500-meter hole in it. The huge body tottered before fading to nothing. He Xiaofeng coughed 3 mouthfuls of blood as he fell to the ground. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Proofreader Papatonks. Bang! He Xiaofeng slammed hard into the ground, his body broken in every way. Worse, his soul was severely injured, needing a decade to pull himself together. But now he didn't have any strength left in him, just like a bug. Even a foundation establishment stage could slap him into the beyond. Who? Zhuofan drifted down, looking down at his victim with a sinister smile. He Xiaofeng was trembling in fear. Why, you're not human. You're a monster spiritual beast or a dragon. I'm a saint, the strongest human. How can you destroy my sacred body without even an imperial mark? Ha ha ha, you're right, though a bit off. Zhuofan shook his head. I'm half beast, but not a dragon or spiritual beast. The sacred beast decimating dragon ancestor remolded my body with his scale, making it unbreakable. This right hand comes from a soaring Qilin leg. In the Nether Sea, I gained guidance from the Tyrant Emperor. I hardly need to use anything to deal with an early saint bigot like you. My foundation is leagues above you. What? He Xiaofeng gaped. You have so many ancient experts behind you. Just who are you? Former demonic Emperor Zhu Yifan, current Luo clan steward Zhuofan. Zhuofan smiled. As for the process of my second coming, I'll leave that a secret. Gulp. He Xiaofeng stammered. Demonic Emperor Zhu Yifan, I heard he got 9 Serenities Sovereign's cultivation method, and that's why you could avoid that calamity. Right, but it was too late. What are you doing? He Xiaofeng shuddered in fear. Zhuofan snickered. What, you ask? Isn't it obvious? I just spilled my greatest secrets, and shouldn't you offer the same consideration? See consideration. Right, show some consideration by sharing as well. Zhuofan smirked, raising a hand that oozed black energy, placing it on his head. I lay my heart open to you, so you must die, since dead men tell no tales. Bye, Sir Saint. Wish you great fortune to be born in the sacred mountains again, unlike me, to come from the bottom rung. Though I don't mind, since my base birth allowed me to send you of lofty birth, to reincarnate, ha ha ha. And no, don't act. Wails of pain shuddered the forest as black energy spread out. When Zhuofan stood, he was surrounded by dust and rags taken by the wind. Zhuofan eased a breath. A saint sure has a strong cultivation. It's good that I've not used demon transformation art for a while. I'll need a few days to consolidate. I'd rather avoid ending up like the traitor Zhao Chun, ha ha ha. Whoosh. Zhuofan's ear twitched at the sound and vanished. You came just in time to report to the 6th sacred mountain Humph. Whoosh. The enchanting empress landed and looked around. Strange, I just saw Saint's sacred body around here. Where is he? Master. Ruby Cloud sect disciples arrived as well. We've looked around but there's no sign of anyone. The enchanting empress nodded and hesitated. Is the battle over, and so they scattered? There's not a body around. So that means the one taking Qingqing couldn't be stopped by a saint? Won't it mean they have a saint as well? The enchanting empress stepped on something that caught her attention, the dust as well as bits of familiar clothing. This, the enchanting empress cried out in utter shock. This is the saint's clothing. What is it doing here? Did he get killed? SSS. The enchanting empress gasped in fear. Her knees softened and slumped to the ground shell-shocked. This is really bad. The The 6th sacred mountain's young lord died in the Ruby Cloud sect's domain. Then the Lord will take it out on me. Disciples, gather everyone around at once. We'll report to the 6th sacred mountains. 2 weeks later, on the 6th sacred mountain, in a quaint and huge study, a middle-aged man with twin mustaches held dust and scraps of clothing in his hand with red eyes. The man exploded with a vicious aura, pulverizing his desk and everything in the room. The shivering enchanting empress was sent flying and coughed blood. Who did this? Why was my son the only one to suffer in the 8 emperors' lands? The middle-aged man roared, snapping his bloodshot eyes on the enchanting empress, flashing in her face, and grabbing her hair. He howled in her ear. Enchanting empress, explain yourself. What happened? Why did my son suffer in your sect? Mountain Lord. Young Lord's fate had nothing to do with me. We didn't do it. Of course I know that, so stop wasting my time. You don't have what it takes. Bam! The enchanting empress got thrown into a wall as the man raged. I'm asking you who killed my son in your sect's domain? You better have an answer, or I'll wipe the Ruby Cloud sect from the sacred domain. Mountain Lord, we will investigate this and report to you. The enchanting empress kneeled again in terror. The middle-aged man held his head with grief. Fenger, you suffered so much, not even leaving a body behind. Fenger, I thought Chu Qingqing would be great for you in understanding sovereign stage. But now I shall never see you again. What of your disciple then? What happened to her? If she's devastated, I can allow her entrance into the sacred mountain as a widow. She, enchanting empress stammered. The man turned frosty. What about her? Hasn't she been getting close to Fenger? Doesn't she care if he died? Humph, absurd. A sacred mountain young lord shows his care, and she doesn't want it? She just doesn't know her own fortune. Fine. Since there's nothing there, I'll still allow her on sacred mountain as my daughter-in-law, for being with Fenger for so long. But better have her clean her act as a devastated widow. That's the only way to move me, and allow her in without raising suspicion to the other mountains. Did I make myself clear? Mountain Lord, that's beside the point. The enchanting empress's face shook hard. The man gave her a long look. Not the point, then what is it? I'm not asking her to truly feel for my son, just act like it to fool others. What's so hard about that? How did you teach her all these years to not manage a disciple? No, Mountain Lord. I do know how to manage my disciples and guide them, after so many years together. But... What? But she has to be present first. The man went blank, his grief all but lost. What's that supposed to mean? You're not saying. The enchanting empress lowered her head. She was actually so in love with Fenger that she took her life? The man's mind went wild with guesses. The enchanting empress blinked, lost. Took her life? Qingqing and your son barely know each other. Aren't you overestimating your son's charm here? The enchanting empress' silence made the man angrier. You're such a disappointment. How could you not watch your disciple? We've been raising this prize pig for a century. Even with my son gone, she shouldn't have been harmed. Damn hag, give me back my prize pig. The man clutched the enchanting empress' neck with fury in his eyes. He cared more for Chu Qingqing than for his son. Mountain Lord, listen to me. Qingqing is fine. The enchanting empress' hoarse voice barely got through. The guy perked up and let her go. Then what was that about? I thought. She isn't here because someone took her. Enchanting empress said. The man's face shook. Then he clutched the enchanting empress's neck again, but even tighter. Chapter 1255. The Demonic Emperor Acts. Chapter 1255. The Demonic Emperor Acts. Proofreader, Papatonks. Cough. The enchanting empress pawed at his cold hand and coughed for air. Mountain Lord, spare me. Wretched stinking hag, you can't do anything right. The man gnashed his teeth. My son died near your place, and then you lost the prize pig I had you raise for a century. So you tell me what you deserve. The enchanting empress held her sore neck, stammering. Mountain Lord, Qingqing is only missing. We just have to get her back. It's better than being dead. As if. Bam! Throwing her into the groan again, he snapped. I'd be happier if she took her life because of my son. Now she's gone and my son is dead. Not only did I lose everything, but there's not an ounce of feeling between them. Have you any idea of the heartbreak I'm going through? I thought you felt none, as a practical man. The enchanting empress bowed, keeping that bit to herself as she said, Please restrain your grief, Mountain Lord. Cut the crap, I want to know everything. What is going on and how you lost Qingcheng? Talk or die. The man demanded. The enchanting empress bowed, and reported how he Xiaofeng called Zhuofan over to warn him, only for the latter to know everything. Not long after Zhuofan left, we discovered unconscious disciples in the sect and Qingcheng missing. Young Lord rushed in pursuit, and I was unaware it would be the last time I got to witness the young Lord's genius, kindness, and amiable nature. Oh, the sorrow! Stop crying. The Mountain Lord snapped at her. I know exactly what my son was, least of all amiable. You're only crying for my sake. The enchanting empress gave a dry smile. Mountain Lord so insightful, but the young lord had many people's respect, ha ha ha. Ignoring the blatant flattery, the man said, So it all happened after Zhuofan left? Isn't he related? That can't be. The enchanting empress shook her head. Why not? Mountain Lord, Zhuofan is the demonic emperor's right-hand man. He is beyond resourceful, but he's as weak as a bug, in the bone-tempering stage. He'd have long since been reduced to fertilizer, if not for the protection his high status offered. Young Lord was a saint that no bug could even touch. It's not possible. Then the ones around him. Mountain Lord squinted. 8 emperors shook her head still. Mountain Lord, the Luo clan sought shelter with the demonic emperor. They can't have any experts. They are at least beneath the demonic emperor. While the one that took Qingcheng moved like the wind, rendering Mei Sangu, my junior sister, unconscious without even reacting. This is the level of 8 emperors at the least. The Luo clan couldn't have done it. And, yes, when we were at the sect, I saw the young lord's sacred body, but by the time we got there, no one was there. This proves that the young lord's fight was swift. Mountain Lord, the only one able to kill the young lord so fast is a saint. The 8 emperors could never do this. Mountain Lord nodded. Yeah, you're right about that. But who did it? To kill Fenger in a blink, one must have mid-saint power. Maybe. Mountain Lord, did you find out? There's one faction that has such power, the Dragon Saints. Mountain Lord squinted. The 7 sacred mountains and the dragons are at odds. But it's been years since we intersected. They're avoiding any conflict. They could never have struck my son. Maybe the young lord's immense pride provoked them. No. I warned him not to ever touch those lizards. Mountain Lord denied her guess. If not the dragons, then the other sacred mountains? Has Chu Qingcheng's secret leaked? The two shared a look and nodded. This was the most plausible explanation. Zhuofan had the biggest motive to take her, but not the strength, leaving the two crossing him out. The matters were becoming complicated, with them unable to figure out who was behind it. They believed He Xiaofeng's death was due to Chu Qingcheng. He Xiaofeng must have found the other's secret, and was silenced. Fenger, I will find your killer and rescue the precious Chu Qingcheng. Mountain Lord vowed. The enchanting empress said. Since the secret is out, does Zhuofan's threat still stand? Yes. Giving her a sidelong glance, Mountain Lord continued. So long as it isn't an open secret, the threat will be real. No one will spread this secret, not us, not the ones taking Chu Qingcheng. We need to strike first and get Chu Qingcheng with us at once. The enchanting empress nodded. Are we to condone his defiant actions? Isn't it just land? He can cause trouble for the next sacred mountain's disciples, so long as he keeps his mouth shut. Mountain Lord sneered. The 7 sacred mountains' joint action stems from the fear of those old fools, due to the event a century ago, that a strong expert will emerge that would topple their power. They want to regulate all resources, so that not even an ungodly genius of the likes of the 10 ancient sovereigns can reach sainthood without our say-so. The enchanting empress nodded, her heart sinking. It's just like the kid said, the sacred mountains want to crush everyone. Now there's no hope for anyone else to rise to the top. Zhuofan was back on Devil Mountain, where he met nervous guards in the main hall. They bowed and reported their worries. Steward Zhua, you're here. What's wrong? Why are you all here? Zhua Fan asked. Steward Zhua, our assault on the two emperors has been going smoothly, but the two have taken to the battlefield themselves and none of us can take them on. We've received urgent reports requesting the demonic emperor's assistance. But the demonic emperor has been in seclusion, and we don't know what to do. We will suffer heavy losses if this goes on. We can't take more of the unstoppable emperor's attacks. Oh, I see. Zhua Fan raised an eyebrow. Don't worry. I will go see the demonic emperor now to ask him to fight. Zhua Fan walked among their gratifying words towards the stone door. Demonic emperor, sir. I have something to report. Rumble. The heavy door opened, and Zhua Fan entered. He saw a ghastly Zhao Chun with bloodlust in his eyes. Where are my ingredients? The demonic emperor's breath was ragged. Zhua Fan smiled. Demonic emperor, sir, I can no longer provide them. Why? The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor have taken to the battlefield, blocking us from taking more prisoners. Bam! Zhao Chun slammed the stone bed, breaking it. Outrageous. Those bastards are ruining everything. I'll get them for this. There are reports from the front lines requesting the demonic emperors help to eliminate them. Also, with the 8 emperors' incredible cultivation, they are sure to be a great boost. Zhua Fan snickered. Zhao Chen's eyes shone with malice and madness. Ha ha ha, using them I'll reach sainthood. Zhao Chen vanished, leaving Zhua Fan alone. Li Jingtian had taken Chu Qingqing to the Luo clan, then came here, coming over to Zhua Fan. Steward Zhua, what did you have him cultivate in? Why is he so erratic, like a lunatic? It's his heart that's going wild. It has nothing to do with the cultivation method. Zhua Fan sighed and snickered. With the demonic emperor on the move, the rabid dogs will bite each other, just like back then with Devil Mountain, ha ha ha. Steward Zhua, when do we move? Li Jingtian was eager for some action. The brothers can't take it anymore, they want to fight. After the Falcon Emperor stepped out, they all wanted a piece of the action against 8 emperors. Your order is what's keeping the Luo clan's army from marching on the Wraith Emperor and Falcon Emperor's lands, and taking them, hee. You're quite impulsive. Zhua Fan glared. Luo clan's experts are to battle the sacred mountains. Before that, none can ever come out in the open. With the sacred mountains helping the 8 emperors, it will be even harder for us to take the sacred domain's lower areas. Chapter 1256, Dreadful Pressure. Chapter 1256, Dreadful Pressure. Proofreader Papatonks. Boom. The sound of explosions echoed continuously, and the screeching of eagles pierced the ears as ghostly shadows howled. The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor's sudden attack had not only thwarted the demonic emperor's army, but even regained 5 cities. All of this was because the Wraith Emperor had abandoned his own territory and joined forces with the Falcon Emperor. Although they both had few forces after the last great battle, their combined strength was still not to be underestimated, especially with 2 8 emperors leading the charge. Listening to the miserable cries and screams, the Falcon Emperor, riding atop a divine eagle, led the way and turned to Wraith Emperor with a friendly gesture. Brother Wraith, it's rare for you to put aside your territory and come to help me this time. I'm extremely grateful. No need to thank me, Brother Falcon. We can't hold on our own, so we join forces to fight back. After we take demonic emperor's lands, we can just divide them. A few losses are nothing. With a gray cloud around him, the Wraith Emperor laughed. The Falcon Emperor nodded. Brother Wraith has remarkable insight. With the 2 of us working together, even the demonic emperor can't stop us. This time, I've also informed the others, so we won't get caught off guard like before. It was Zhua Fan who made a mess of things last time. Once we take the demonic emperor's lands, we need to deal with him to save us the trouble later. The Wraith Emperor's bloodthirst spiked. The Falcon Emperor nodded with a wicked smile. The kid was too cunning to be left by the demonic emperor's side. Bam! The 2 stepped over the corpses to arrive before a city gate. A mere wave blasted it to pieces. The 2 had smug looks. That marked the fall of the demonic emperor's 6th city. Quite fast, ha ha ha. Whoosh! An evil aura swept them just then. The army rushing into the city felt their hearts seizing, and their blood ran cold. The Wraith Emperor frowned. Is this the demonic emperor's aura? It can't be. We saw him only recently. How can his aura be so evil and powerful? The Falcon Emperor was puzzled. The dreaded pressure grew stronger as a familiar and eerie voice echoed. Ha ha ha, Falcon Emperor, Wraith Emperor. You two codgers dare mess with my plans? Surrender now. It's really the demonic emperor. The two of them shouted in shock, looking at the creepy human wrapped in black energy, feeling a sense of urgency and madness from him. How did he end up like this? Zhao Chen struck first, devil palm. Rustle. Countless black palms fell down like meteorites, blasting the ground with booming explosions. Their joint forces howled before exploding in a shower of gore and blood, littering the place in their ghastly remains. Falcon's flight. Wraithful sky. The two emperors didn't take chances fighting back. Countless eagle cries and shadows filled the skies. Hundreds of them rushed at the gigantic palms. Amidst the explosions, however, their arts broke apart on contact. The emperor shook under the backlash flung back. They spat blood and looked at Zhao Chun and saw dementia. This can't be. They gasped in disbelief. He overpowered us like nothing. Why is he so strong? What happened? The swirling black aura around Zhao Chun grew more intense. He couldn't contain his glee. Ha ha ha. Decrepit relics, now you know my strength. I am your executioner today. Die. Whoosh. Zhao Chun charged. Demonic Emperor, don't get cocky. You think you can take both of us? Humph, you don't have it in you. You think yourself your master, Zhui Yifan? They sneered, for surrender was still far off. They made signs and two golden auras shot from them. A 500-meter golden falcon and a 100-meter tall golden wraith appeared in the air, their imperial marks. Zhao Chun had a wicked grin. My master was the head of the 8 emperors, and now I shall follow in his footsteps, even surpassing him. From now on, people shall call demonic emperor Zhao Chun the strongest, not Zhui Yifan, ha ha ha. Whoosh. Zhao Chun shook, and a black dragon flickering in golden lights shot into the sky. The black dragon was different from before, with a sinister darkness that sent shivers by just looking at it. Why is his imperial mark different? It looks darker and makes me uneasy. The Falcon Emperor was worried. The Wraith Emperor said, we don't have time for that. No matter how much it changed, we still need to destroy his imperial mark. The Wraith Emperor made a sign, and his Wraith imperial mark roared toward the black dragon. The Falcon Emperor gritted his teeth, making the golden falcon imperial mark follow. Bam! As the 3 imperial marks clashed, the deafening explosion shook the world. The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor felt their hearts shuddering and coughed blood. How is this possible? They looked on with fear. How could both of our imperial marks be overpowered? They were also sporting heavy wounds. Looking up, their imperial marks were flung back. Zhao Chun had them shocked to the core. They were all emperors, but this gap was unheard of. Is he on the level of Zhui Yifan? Pa! They suddenly shook and felt their hearts seized. Their imperial marks flew back, and were now coiled by a black tail, coming from Zhao Chun's dragon. Demonic Emperor, what are you doing? The Falcon Emperor panicked. The imperial mark was their soul. While powerful, it was also prone to being damaged. They were uneasy seeing them captured. They had their imperial mark struggle, but the two couldn't break free. The 2 emperors shivered in fear. The black dragon roared, coiling around the 2 imperial marks tighter. Its sinister eyes shone with desire and malice, just like its owner. What you ask? Zhao Chun wiped his drool. Relics like you dared to stop me from getting my ingredients. So now you'll take their place. As part of the 8 emperors, your power will be a great boon to mine, ha ha ha. From his crazed eyes, the 2 felt terror. Falcon Emperor cried out, Demonic Emperor, don't be rash. You started this, while we're just defending. Let's just talk. The sacred mountains sent word that they would replace some of the 8 emperors. Causing trouble now will get you replaced. Sacred mountains? Zhao Chun raised an eyebrow. They're nothing. When I finish my training, they're finished. They think they can replace me? Humph, Soon I'll have those fools kneel before me. They're utter garbage, ha ha ha. Chapter 1257 Insanity. Chapter 1257 Insanity. Proofreader, Papatonks. Madness. The two couldn't believe their ears. The demonic emperor was insufferably arrogant, on top of being raving mad. The two made more signs. Scattered falcon feathers. Wraith flight. The two muttered, then the golden eagle burst into a dazzling radiance, sending countless feathers in every direction. The wraith howled as gray images shot from its mouth. This made the two imperial marks to shrink, fading out, as the emperors looked for an escape. Zhao Chen sneered. Humph, you found the wrong person to try those petty tricks on. Devouring demonic dragon. He made quick signs with his hands, and the black dragon turned into a black mist, swallowing all the feathers and the gray images. Ugh! The emperors froze and winced. Their hope of fleeing dashed. As they watched the black energy swirling and caging them, the two were grave. Zhao Chen cackled. Falcon Emperor, Wraith Emperor, you're beneath me. Just give up already and feed my cultivation. It's your honor to be a part of my rise to the sovereign stage, ha ha ha. Underworld. Zhao Chen shouted. A torrent of black mist surged, swallowing the sky. The two emperors shivered under the oppressive blackness. What is this? Why do I feel so weak and in pain? He's tampering with our marks. The Wraith Emperor cursed. Demonic Emperor. What the hell are you doing to our imperial marks? Zhao Chen shrugged. Nothing much, just taking its power. Once I finish, they will dissipate and you along with them, hi. What? The emperors were terrified. They kept making signs with trembling hands in an attempt to break their marks free, to no avail. As their strength waned, Zhao Chen grew stronger. They had only one fate, to be sucked dry. The two plopped on the ground in convulsions as life was drained from their bodies. Zhao Chen felt his own strength surging with a manic grin, relishing in the moment with closed eyes. Sovereign cultivation methods are out of this world. I just need to keep cultivating, and I can dominate sacred domain, ha ha ha. Shriek. A sudden cry came out of nowhere as a massive brown figure appeared. It slammed into the black mist and made a huge hole in it. Zhao Chen shuddered, with the brown figure turning out to be a huge eagle. It was now holding in its talons the wraith and the golden eagle. Well done, my precious. The two emperors felt they could stand again, with the falcon emperor praising the creature. The wraith emperor lit up. Is that your spirit animal? It came right on time. Let's just get our marks and flee. The falcon emperor made a sign, and the wraith emperor copied him. Whoosh! The marks turned into a golden light and entered their bodies, making them breathe easier. Zhao Chen grimaced, seeing the brown eagle fleeing with killing intent. Damn pigeon, you're dead. Devil palm. Boom! A gigantic palm 100 meters big, shot for the eagle. It tried dodging but it was too late. The palm grabbed it, and the dark energy swirled around it. The emperors watched with terror as it turned to ash. SSS. What the hell is the demonic emperor practicing? It's horrible. Zhao Chen recalled the dragon into his body and snickered. The beast helped you live longer, but not much humph. Zhao Chen shot for the two. The emperors ran away on the spot, not caring about anything. Is the demonic emperor insane? How did he degenerate so much? A whistle came from behind, and a palm caught up to them. Ha ha ha, you still think you can escape me with that speed? Fools, ha ha ha. Why is he so fast? He's like another person. Falcon Emperor cried out. Wraith Emperor shot a palm at Falcon Emperor's shoulder. Sorry, brother Falcon. I will remember you. I will avenge you later. Bam! The Falcon Emperor stumbled under the attack, and Zhao Chen grabbed his neck. Curse you, Wraith Emperor, using me as bait. You'll get yours. The Falcon Emperor cursed as the Wraith Emperor got further away. The Wraith Emperor was looking grim, blocking out his voice as he fled. Brother Falcon, sorry. It's better for one to live than both of us dying. Your sacrifice won't be in vain. Whoosh! The Wraith Emperor vanished in the distance. The Falcon Emperor's face shook. Zhao Chen grabbed his neck tighter. Is this your friendship? I'm touched, hi. Demonic Emperor, don't kill me. I'll do anything, please. Whoosh. The Falcon Emperor was swallowed by the black mist. Minutes later, it dissipated and Falcon Emperor was turned into ashes. Humph, do anything? Do you take me for a fool to believe the 8 emperors? Ha ha ha. The Demonic Emperor cackled. The Falcon Emperor had a tragic end while the Wraith Emperor fled with heavy wounds. The Demonic Emperor's forces saw their lord's victory and rallied as they cheered. However, the Demonic Emperor waved his hand and sucked hundreds of people into the black mist, turning them to ashes. The people were frozen in fear. The Demonic Emperor snapped at them. Useless fools, fight. Get me more lands and more prisoners. It's either them or you who will become my ingredients, understand? Why yes, Demonic Emperor. The forces shivered as they marched on. The previous excitement was gone, now replaced by terror. They used to fight for the Demonic Emperor to make a name for themselves. Now they only fought to stay away from his insatiable appetite. They had to work hard to bring him more prey, so they wouldn't end up being preyed on instead. Zhao Chen sneered as he roared. Zhou Fan watched from afar, shaking his head. Li Jingtian chuckled. Steward Zhua. The Demonic Emperor is getting foolish. He even talks about using people to cultivate. He isn't foolish, he's mad. Zhou Fan's eyes shone. Demon transformation art has made his strength spike, making him forget restraint. He will do anything to get more power. When heaven wants you dead, he first drives you insane until you lose all reason. The sacred mountains will pay him a visit soon. We just have to wait for his fall. Li Jingtian nodded. Any news from the dragons? Zhou Fan asked. Li Jingtian bowed. Steward Zhua, still nothing. You're impatient as well? No, it's that I still need to be patient and lay low. Zhou Fan left. Chapter 1258 Deal. Chapter 1258 Deal. Proofreader Papatonks. The Demonic Emperor defeated the Wraith Emperor, and even killed the Falcon Emperor by himself. The Enchanting Empress cried out in shock at the report inside the Jade Slip. That's not possible. I had a hard fight with the Falcon Emperor, so how could he die so easily? And on 2 against 1. Even the Wraith Emperor could hold his own against the Sword Emperor for a while. Mei Sanga was just as confused. Senior sister. The reality is that the Falcon Emperor died, and the Wraith Emperor fled. The Demonic Emperor had taken over their lands. This proves he is the most powerful of the 8 emperors with his biggest domain. Was it one of Zhou Fan's ploys that led to the Falcon Emperor's death? The Enchanting Empress was grave. Mei Sanga shook her head. Senior sister, I don't think so. The 3 fought in the open, before an entire army. There's no room for deceit on the battlefield. Schemes aren't enough to make up for the 8 emperors' strength either. The kid can set all the traps he wants, but it'll still be impossible for him to force the 2 emperors into a corner with no escape. This only makes the even more suspicious. Did the Demonic Emperor take some powerful tonic to grow so incredibly strong? The Enchanting Empress remained skeptical. She then waved impatiently. Never mind, we still don't have any clues on young lord or who took Qingcheng. I don't have the time to deal with 8 emperors' grudges. Senior sister is right. Mei Sanga bowed. A disciple walked in and bowed. Master, another jade slip arrived with a strong aura. We couldn't inspect it. It must be meant for Master's eyes. Wraith seal. The Enchanting Empress jerked. It's from the Wraith Emperor. The Enchanting Empress frowned and read it. She shouted in shock. The Wraith Emperor is calling all 8 emperors to Wraith Bamboo Forest for an important matter. It must have something to do with the war. Mei Sanga added. The Enchanting Empress nodded and walked out. Sangu, follow me. Since there's no lead on the young lord and Qingcheng's situations, we'll see what's going on with the Demonic Emperor. The Enchanting Empress took off, and Mei Sanga followed her. A month later, the 2 arrived before a dark and eerie bamboo forest packed tight with guards. There were countless tombstones as well. The Enchanting Empress reached a pavilion where people were already seated, with the Wraith Emperor acting as host. Enchanting Empress, you're here. The Wraith Emperor stood and cupped his hands, gesturing, have a seat. The Enchanting Empress took the seat and asked, Did you invite us because the demonic emperor killed the Falcon Emperor? Everyone else focused on the Wraith Emperor's conflicted face with hard stares. The news was just too suspicious and worried them greatly. Indeed, that's why I called you all here. The Wraith Emperor lamented. The Falcon Emperor had a gruesome fate, not leaving behind even a body to bury. You aren't asking our help to seek revenge, are you? The Sword Emperor asked. The Wraith Emperor shook his head. Not at all. There's a long history between us 8 emperors. Friends can become enemies at the drop of the hat. Their demise is their own fault to bear. However, the Falcon Emperor's death is too strange. We have to figure it out before that lunatic sucks us all dry. Everyone shuddered. Is the demonic emperor that strong? Rumors say that you two couldn't beat him, and that the Falcon Emperor died in battle. Is that true? Is there another reason? What reason could there be? In a straight-up fight, we lost against him. The Wraith Emperor sighed. The truth is we were weaker and so one died. Everyone tensed. The Sword Emperor squinted, finding it the hardest to believe. It threatened his position as the top of the 8 emperors. If I were to join as well, I'll lose too. Sword Emperor. The Wraith Emperor chuckled. Forgive my bluntness, but did you win against Zhu Yifan? The Sword Emperor shook and winced. Why bring up the dead? It's been thousands of years. Haven't we agreed to lay that to rest? Yeah, none of us want to recall that detestable demonic emperor. He was the true top of the 8 emperors, able to take on the rest of us. He was a loner, but he had the power of entire armies. The Wraith Emperor took a deep breath. We have to bring him up since another Zhu Yifan is here. We have to accept reality before it makes us suffer for it. Their eyes twitched and the Sword Emperor exclaimed, Where are you going with this? You mean to tell me Zhao Chun is like his master? Humph, no way. Zhu Yifan's talent was the most incredible outside the sacred mountains. Some said he'd attain peak sainthood if he went to the sacred mountains, if not sovereign stage. Zhao Chun is petty and reckless. He could never attain a tenth of his master's strength all these years, humph. Sword Emperor, you still can't accept that times have changed for the very worst. The Wraith Emperor spoke in a grave tone, with the others becoming serious as well. Wraith Emperor continued. This meeting with Zhao Chun was like seeing another person. He used to be cunning and outrageous, but he had restraint. Now he's simply insane, wild and mad. He doesn't care about anything, not even us. He said he'll take on even the sacred mountains. Him? Humph. Someone sneered and the others shook their heads. However, the Wraith Emperor grinned. He has good reason for saying it. You would feel the same thing if you saw him. The lunatic was confident. His strength grew so much he even killed the Falcon Emperor. He's catching up to Zhu Yifan. Do you have any clues? Look for yourselves. The Wraith Emperor took out a pouch, letting it spill on the table. What do you think it is? Dust. People. People? Yes. The Wraith Emperor stressed every word. I found out that he is using people to cultivate. After our battle, he admitted it himself. He only started the war to get more ingredients. The Falcon Emperor turned to ashes because of this. What? Everyone gaped. Using people to cultivate is forbidden in the sacred domain. It will incur the world's wrath, struck down swiftly. Isn't he afraid that the sacred mountains will hunt him down? I told you he doesn't care about them. He also mentioned that he will become a sovereign soon, that the sacred mountains would be nothing by then. Sovereign? They all shouted. There had been no new sovereign since ancient times. What gave him the gall to say he will become one? None in the sacred mountains could claim that either. Before becoming one, even a peak saint would end up killed once surrounded. How could he commit such cruel acts? The Sword Emperor muttered. There are only 2 ways to become sovereign. Through enlightenment, though there has never been any record of anyone achieving it since ancient times, and a sovereign's inheritance. Everyone exclaimed, he found one. The Wraith Emperor nodded. It's very possible. What kind of art could double his strength in such a short time? This proves his arrogance. By getting a sovereign's inheritance, becoming one is only a matter of time. Of course he would hate the sacred mountains. This piece. The enchanting empress noticed something in the dust, taking out a piece of clothing. Wraith Emperor explained, I collected this from the remains of people he used for cultivation. It seems his art turns not only soul and body to dust, but clothes as well. It's similar to the ones I found on young Lord. Maybe. The enchanting empress nodded. So you did this, demonic emperor? You're finished. Once the mountain lord knows you? Everyone. The sword emperor's grave voice echoed. We will have to join forces once more. Just like when we faced Zhu Yifan and deal with Zhao Chun. Do you still remember the past? Because of the arrival of a saint, Zhu Yifan destroyed the records and detonated. This time, we must keep this a secret if we want to get our hands on the sovereign's inheritance. Why bother doing someone else's job? Everyone nodded and turned to the enchanting empress in unison. Her face twitched, and she finally nodded under peer pressure. Chapter 1259, Back Then. Chapter 1259, Back Then. Proofreader Papatonks. The sky was dim, and drizzling rain fell incessantly. A figure, clad in a black robe, walked on the quiet mountain. Before long, the figure arrived at a pavilion. Looking around, they muttered to themselves, Why haven't they arrived yet? Ha ha ha, Steward Zhua, we've been here waiting for you. 5 people showed up before the man in black. They were the Sword Emperor, and 4 more of the 8 emperors. The black robe chuckled and revealed himself to be Zhua Fan. It's rare to have the distinguished 8 emperors give me such an honor, inviting me, the demonic emperor Steward, in secret. Steward Zhua, there's no need for pleasantries. You've done well coming alone. Take a seat. The Sword Emperor gestured at a stone table. The others sat as well. Zhua Fan shook the water off his robe and took his seat. He began, Gentlemen, what is the purpose of this secret invitation? Calling me here discreetly, even avoiding contact with the demonic emperor. You didn't tell him? Of course not. Zhua Fan saw the Sword Emperor nervous and smiled. The demonic emperor is a busy man and need not trouble himself with such trifles. What would be the point of having me then? I am here to address what I can handle. Right, Steward Zhua is a man of great skill, able to deal with many things in his stead, ha ha ha. The Sword Emperor nodded. Zhua Fan got to the point. Sir still hasn't answered my question. Why the secret meeting? I'm but a steward and have little power. You're better off talking with the demonic emperor. No, we wanted you. The Sword Emperor snickered. Steward Zhua, before we begin, I would like to know whether the demonic emperor has been strange lately. Strange? No, what's so strange about winning? Zhua Fan raised an eyebrow, and the Wraith Emperor grimaced. The Sword Emperor waved his hand. Steward Zhua is a smart man and should know what I mean. I didn't ask you here to pull the demonic emperor's secrets out of you. I'm only curious about his condition. Even you should know his madness and cruelty on the battlefield were terrifying. This madness can spread, and you might find it unleashed on his closest aide. Ugh! Zhua Fan looked confused. Now that the Sword Emperor mentions it, the demonic emperor has been strange lately. Strange how? He's more secretive, spending his days in seclusion, demanding prisoners and growing his lands. The constant war had taken its toll on his forces, but he still wants to go on. I have to say that the ones trying to advise him against it were executed, except me. Why does he want so many prisoners? Is he practicing some sinister art? The Sword Emperor stirred as he asked. Zhua Fan was silent. The Sword Emperor asked something else. Zhua Fan, when did the change start? I'm not sure. Zhua Fan shook his head. Ever since I came from the Nether Sea. I needed a few months to recover from my injuries before returning to Devil Mountain. The demonic emperor has been like this ever since I saw him. After the Nether Sea, the 5 emperors' eyes shone with excitement. The guy must have gotten the Nether Sovereign's treasure. That's what made him so erratic. He has been secretive all this time, wanting it all for himself, just like Zhu Yifan. The 5's purpose was clear. The enchanting empress said coyly, Steward Zhua, you must have done well under the demonic emperor, his temper considering. I got by. Zhua Fan smiled. The demonic emperor may be harsh on others, he treats me with respect. Why else did all his advisors die except for me? Ha ha ha. The enchanting empress nodded. Steward Zhua is a man of great talent. No one would ever wish to part with such an aide. But did you ever think that while he is using you now, the day might come when your value runs out? What do you think he'll do then? I believe I'll always be of use. Zhua Fan spoke with pride. The others' faces sank. Despite his poor strength, he is still prideful. The 8 emperors snickered on. Steward Zhua's wisdom is something to admire. I believe that the 8 emperors, even saints, would cherish a talent such as you. But true power trumps any cunningness. When someone grows beyond everyone else in power, what use would he have of your wisdom? What are you saying? Zhua Fan flinched, his smile slipping. The enchanting empress nodded, driving her point. Steward Zhua must know why the demonic emperor is so strong. He will only get stronger still, until his use of you would run out. When every enemy is dead, what's the point of keeping a steward? One should have contingencies for the future, Steward Zhua. Do you understand? Zhua Fan squinted. Steward Zhua. The Wraith Emperor spoke up. Your talent makes you better than the 8 emperors despite not being one. Any emperor who has you by their side would be at the level of the 8 emperors. You are the unsung emperor, while the demonic emperor would have long since fallen without you. Last time, the Falcon Emperor and I joined forces, and it was enough to deal with him. Are you willing to waste away under someone else only to be cast aside in the end? Zhua Fan took a deep breath and looked at the sky. Tell me, what are you planning? We hope you'd help us get rid of Zhao Chun. Now that Zhua Fan saw their point, the Sword Emperor grew impatient in his joy. A sudden assault on the demonic emperor would only scare him off into hiding. That's why we have to do it in secret. The demonic emperor is paranoid, making it impossible for an outsider to do anything, especially on Devil Mountain. With so many defensive arrays, not even we could slip in undetected. With the demonic emperor in seclusion, and all his forces on Devil Mountain under Steward Zhua's supervision, you just need to clear us a path. Zhua Fan nodded. What's in it for me? The throne among the 8 emperors beckons you. The 8 emperors laughed at his changed stance. We will elect you as a new emperor among us, even though you're not in the emperor stage. But anyone in your clan can take the seat and be under your control. It will hardly make a difference, and will only allow you to sit with us. The puppet is only for others to see, just an honorary title. Can I trust you? We will vow on our Tao hearts. I also told the 6th Sacred Mountain's Lord. He agreed. Even if they send replacements for the 8 emperors, they'll never touch you. You're protected. The 8 emperors gave a firm nod. It's a promise none of us have. We might all be replaced, but not you. The others nodded, goading him. You have all the guarantees you can have, so why hesitate? We're so jealous of you, having the Sacred Mountain at your back. Are you just going to work for the demonic emperor all your life just for him to kill you in the end? Zhua Fan sneered inside at their urging. The term might look enticing to the ignorant. The chance to remain among the 8 emperors for all your life without the risk of being thrown away. But if you think about it, those old 8 emperors would care about this title once this matter is done. Their eyes are on the sovereign stage, all thanks to a sovereign's inheritance. Why would they waste time on empty titles? These relics sure know how to plot. Zhua Fan was hoping for this. Regardless, the more they yearned for it, the better. So he stroked his chin as he smiled. When will you act, gentlemen? The 5 laughed. Zhua Fan grinned a devious smile, his eyes icy. You must have enticed that rotten disciple back then as well, I bet. Humph. Chapter 1260 Surrounded. Chapter 1260 Surrounded. Proofreader Papatonks. A month later, inside Devil Mountain, Zhua Fan came before a stone door. Demonic Emperor, sir. We've taken 3 cities and 2,350 prisoners. Send them in already. A gruff voice echoed, followed by loud booms as the stone door rumbled open. Zhua Fan walked in. Zhao Chun was panting like a beast, his eyes bloodshot from madness as he roared. Where are they? Give them to me. Whoosh. People appeared in the dark room out of nowhere, covering the floor. Zhao Chun's eyes were frenzied, setting his black energy on them like a tide to consume them. He was too deep into his madness and thirst to cultivate to notice Zhuo Fan smirking as he left. His own aide didn't even say goodbye. Corpse explosion. A cold shout boomed, and the black energy released a terrifying ripple. Zhao Chen jumped to his feet, slow to react. Boom! The explosions were endless, all over the black energy, sending deadly shockwaves all around. The blasts were so strong they flattened the top of Devil Mountain. Thick dust spread around, swallowing all the eerie, yet lavish buildings below. Whoosh! The wind whistled as someone moved through the thick dust, landing on the ground and soaking it with his blood. The Wraith Emperor. Zhao Chen raised his sinister face, his eyes bleeding, and roared. Wraith Emperor, I'm going to pulverize you for what you did. Ha ha ha, but what about the others? A cackle responded as 5 figures landed before him, the other 5 emperors. Zhao Chen's eyes flashed, staring hard at them. So decrepit fools like you ganged up just so to play me? I should have known none of you are worth crap. First you ganged up on my master, and now on me. Zhao Chen, did you already forget about your share when we attacked your master? Don't call us evil when it suits you. You're no better. The Sword Emperor mocked him. The Wraith Emperor cackled. Zhao Chen, don't be quick to insult others when you're just as vile. It's so poetic if you think about it. This is karma for everything you did to your master, ha ha ha. Karma? Zhao Chen exclaimed. You couldn't have entered my lands without someone finding out, especially on Devil Mountain. There are countless arrays on it that would react to your coming. What is going on? All looked at him with disdain, turning to one side and making Zhao Chen look there as well. He gasped, You? Yes, it is I, demonic emperor, sir. Zhuo Fan smirked with a bow. I'm thankful for all your care in giving me final word over your lands in Devil Mountain, so that I could get the 8 emperors inside. Forgive me. Zhao Chen's face twitched. Zhuo Fan, you rotten traitor, I've given you everything and this is how you repay me, by selling me out? Goddamn bastard. Zhao Chen shook and a powerful aura shot for Zhuo Fan. A huge black palm loomed over him. Zhuo Fan paled and fled back. The Sword Emperor intervened, striking with his sword. Skybreaker. Whoosh! A blinding light flashed and turned into a 300-meter sword, clashing with the huge black palm. Boom! The sky rumbled under their power, with the Sword Emperor frowning and falling back 10 steps, and looking at the other in shock. Zhao Chen shuddered and coughed blood. Sword Emperor, how is it? The others rushed to his side, looking at Zhao Chen in worry. It was beyond their expectation to find that Zhao Chen was stronger than him, just like Zhu Yifan. A sovereign's inheritance is so incredible. The Sword Emperor panted, looking grave. He's not the same old weak brat. We have to be careful. It's fortunate we acted in time and gave him heavy wounds, or it would be us who'd pay the price later. Zhao Chen raged as he glared. Zhuo Fan! Zhao Chen's face was covered in blood. I've been nothing but good to you. Why would you sell me out? I'm wounded because you let the Wraith Emperor fiddle with the corpses and trigger the trap as I absorbed them. What's an ungrateful bastard still doing standing here? Zhuo Fan stepped up. Demonic Emperor, sir. Everyone has a price. I came under your wing for a career, but as you become stronger and stronger, one day you won't need me. I'd avoid being expendable. And the 8 emperors' terms are quite enticing, making me one of them forever. I had no reason to refuse. So haha, forgive me. Screw your apology. You're dead for betraying me. Zhao Chen struck with a palm, a black dragon enveloping him. He was going to kill them all, especially Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, not to worry. He can't harm you. The Sword Emperor shouted, shielding a sneering Zhuo Fan. They said the same thing to Zhao Chen then. But didn't they still attack him now? Their promise isn't worth crap. The others surrounded Zhuo Fan to shield him, unaware of his thoughts. When Zhao Chen drew closer, they struck. Zhao Chen, you dare mention others when you betrayed your own master. Compared to Steward Zhuo's act, yours is heresy. You have no right to speak. I can betray while no one else can betray me. Zhao Chen focused all his strength into his palms, making the dragon roar and shoot at them. I'll refine all of you with the nether script, ha ha ha. You won't succeed. The Sword Emperor released his imperial mark. Decimate supreme sword. Haunt elusive wraith. Unite heaven and earth enchanting jasper. Whoosh. 5 imperial marks took the skies, making contact with the black dragon in a resounding explosion. A hole got punched in the endless darkness, bringing light. The 6 imperial marks coming together felt like the sacred domain was going to crumble. The 5 shuddered back with red faces and blood at their mouths. Zhao Chen got pushed back a dozen steps and spat so much blood, he soaked the ground. The Wraith Emperor laughed. Zhao Chen, we know your cultivation method is great, but you won't get to refine us so long as we don't let you surround our soul. We just need to match your every blow with all our strength. In your condition, you won't be able to take the shock. A few more times and your body will break. Demonic Emperor, give it up, it's over. Chapter 1261. Just who are you? Chapter 1261. Just who are you? Proofreader Papatonks. Give up. Zhao Chen frowned, his eyes filled with resentment. He stared at them and let out a creepy laughter. Surrender, is it? Ha. Never gonna happen. Once I heal, I will come back for each and every last one of you. The last thing you'll see is me, ha ha ha. The Sword Emperor sneered. Demonic Emperor, we have you surrounded and you still think of fleeing? Just hand over the cultivation method you got from the Nether Sea, and we can forget about this. Cultivation method? I just knew it. The only reason all of you got together is over something to gain, just like last time. Zhao Chen shook his head. Well, too bad. I'm not my master, and you won't ever catch me, ha ha ha. Zhao Chen released black energy as he laughed. The Sword Emperor made a sign and cut with his finger. You won't get the chance to flee. Whoosh. A blinding white light flashed across the sky, severing the black energy. They watched as it revealed no one inside. Zhao Chen was gone just like that. What just happened? The Sword Emperor stared hard at Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, you're of a brilliant mind and have been by the demonic emperor's side the longest. What was that? Zhuo Fan frowned. The demonic emperor must have had an escape ready outside of my knowledge. What's certain is that his act was a distraction. He can't just vanish. There must be a tunnel around here somewhere. Yes, Steward Zhuo is right. Find it. The Sword Emperor shouted, and everyone began searching. Zhuo Fan looked around as well. It took them a whole 6 hours before the enchanting empress cried in excitement. Come quick. I found it. In a hidden bush, a deep hole was hidden. I'll take the lead, you follow. The Sword Emperor went on without fear, but Zhuo Fan raised a hand. He said, don't bother. He's been gone for 6 hours. We won't catch him. We at least have a trail now. You think he'd leave a clue behind after what happened to him? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. The others frowned, looking dark. The Wraith Emperor said, the demonic emperor has to die before he gets us instead. The others' hearts sank. One had to be ruthless to remove all needless trouble, especially with such a powerful expert around. He had to be removed at once. Steward Zhuo, what do you think? Zhao Chen is sure to take his first revenge on you. The enchanting empress asked. The other turned to him. Zhuo Fan used his smarts to get the 8 emperors to respect him. His opinion mattered. Zhuo Fan smiled. He can't run anyway. What does that mean? We can't use this tunnel to find him. But think of his situation. With him badly wounded, no matter how well he hides his tracks, he'll need to heal. And with his cultivation method he needs people. The enchanting empress lit up. We just need to keep a close eye on the people in every area. The moment many are missing, then that's where he must be. Zhuo Fan nodded. That's the idea. They all nodded with smiles. Steward Zhuo is brilliant. It's good he's weak, or he'd be the strongest among us, with none his match. Let's split up and search while paying attention to the population. The Sword Emperor proposed and the others agreed, scattering. Only Zhuo Fan was left behind with a smirk. A strict inspection began across the 8 emperors' lands. With Zhao Chen missing and the 5 emperors' support, Zhuo Fan took over all of demonic emperors' lands affairs. Every elite of the Luo clan got sent to grab all the power, taking it over. All now listened to Zhuo Fan's orders. A month went by in peace. when shocking news came from the border between the demonic emperor and enchanting empress lands. A whole city was gone. The 5 emperors shuddered and rushed to inspect. Zhuo Fan was going someplace else. Russell. 5 miles from Devil Mountain, in a valley overgrown with fauna, a frail figure struggled to walk through the damp forest with shaky steps, barely reaching a cave. The man shook the water off him and took a deep breath in excitement. His gaunt finger rubbed a ring, filled with satisfaction. I just knew you'd come here. The man shuddered at the voice, looking forward to seeing someone leaning on the cave wall and enjoying tea. Zhuo Fan. Yes, demonic emperor, sir. Zhuo Fan sneered. The gaunt figure's messy hair blew to the side and revealed a raging expression. He was looking far thinner now, but with a thicker black energy around him, just like a monster. How did you find me? I left no trace to this hideout. Easy, Zhuo Fan smiled. Didn't you used to come here in your younger days? You'd start crying after every beating you got, hiding from the world. Yet someone was always by your side. Zhao Chen gasped in fright. How do you know about that? Zhuo Fan smiled and sipped his tea. Zhao Chen grew dark then mocked. Steward Zhuo, you're alone? Why yes, have you seen anyone around here? Ha ha ha, how ridiculous. Where did your crafty mind go? You actually came alone to find me? You're nothing but a bug. You found me but now you'll die here. Do I need to tell anyone? You can't kill me, ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan said. Zhao Chen gnashed his teeth. I can't? Humph. I kept you alive for so long because of your talent. But now you'll pay for your betrayal. Devil palm. Zhao Chen struck with a 10-meter large black palm. The eerie pressure bore on Zhuo Fan, making the entire cave tremble along with the mountain. Zhuo Fan merely waved it off. Whoosh! The black palm vanished. Zhao Chen jerked, and the black dragon came out this time, his imperial mark. Zhuo Fan flicked. With a muffled sound, the dragon was sent flying into Zhao Chen, and forcing the latter a dozen steps back. He coughed blood and shuddered from the wounds. How? Why you're at Qi condensation stage? Wrong, I'm at peak emperor stage like you. Zhuo Fan sipped his tea. Zhao Chen's eye twitched. Peak emperor? No. There's no way you could disregard my attack if that were so. I'm one of the mighty 8 emperors. Zhuo Fan snickered. But since you asked instead, I'll tell you. Be it the Wraith Art or Devil Palm, they all stem from my teaching you. Breaking them can't be easier. Zhao Chen's mind shuddered, looking at Zhuo Fan like he saw a ghost. Who the hell are you? Chapter 1262. What the hell? Chapter 1262. What the hell? Proofreader, Papatonks. Who do you think? Zhuo Fan's eyes shone as he stared at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen's face twitched, stammering. That's not possible. Master died, detonating his soul. He can't be alive. True. Zhuo Yifan couldn't have survived with his soul destroyed, could he? Zhuo Fan smiled. He died, but his yearning lived on, passed on to a dying youth in a strange coincidence, as the second Zhuo Yifan. No, it should be just his thoughts that passed on. In the end, Zhuo Fan is not Zhuo Yifan. Zhao Chen's face twitched, looking confused. What does that mean? Are you Zhuo Yifan or Zhuo Fan? Both. The Zhuo Yifan of before is the Zhuo Fan of today. Zhuo Fan mocked. Fool. Didn't you always want to know the 9 Serenity's secret records? This is one of its skills, yearning rebirth. Humans aren't just flesh and soul, but also of mind and desires. You are what your heart is. Zhao Chen shuddered, staggering back into the wall. Why your master? Zhuo Fan smirked. Spare me, master. I was forced to do that. They made me. Please let me live. Zhao Chen plopped to the ground and kowtowed and whined. They are the ones who you should take your anger on, not me. Give me any command and I shall follow it. Bang. Zhao Chen kept knocking his head on the stone. Zhuo Fan merely smiled. Yet his expression was devoid of sympathy. Once Zhao Chen got to his 100th banging, Zhuo Fan sighed. Idiot, who told you I wanted revenge on you? Master, why you'll let me go? Zhao Chen perked up with hope. Zhuo Fan grinned. We're master and disciple. I know they lured you after I've experienced their tactics. I could never blame you. Master, thank you so much. Zhao Chun went back to banging his head in gratitude. Zhuo Fan continued. Well, did you like cultivating the demon transformation art? The demon transformation art? Zhao Chun was puzzled. Isn't it the Nether script? Why? The demon transformation art is 9 Serenity's secret record's highest cultivation method. As a seeker of the demonic path, I of course would train in this cultivation method. How could I pass on to my disciple the Nether Sovereign's art? Oh, I see. Master passed on to me the 9 Serenity's secret records. Thank you, Master, thank you. Zhao Chun was overjoyed. Whether the Nether Sovereign or demonic sovereign, it was all the same to him. Zhuo Fan said, You haven't answered me. How was the cultivation method? It's incredible, Master. My strength multiplied in just a few months. I believe in just a few more, I'll become a saint, ha ha ha. Zhao Chun laughed with pride and madness. His face looked eerie with all the black energy around him. Zhuo Fan nodded. Whoosh. Zhao Chun went this way, no mistake. Look at the spiritual signature. Only he could leave such thick demonic energy. He must be nearby. It's them. Zhao Chun panicked. How did they find me? I'm sure I've removed all traces. Idiot. Zhao Chun found Zhuo Fan's gaze to be that of a scolding parent. And Master, what can I do for you? Didn't you say you wanted to obey me? Now go and kill them to redeem yourself. Zhuo Fan spoke. Atone for your betrayal, and we will once again be master and disciple. Zhao Chun was thrilled. Yes, Master, understood. He rushed out on the spot, under Zhuo Fan's gaze. You never change, foolish disciple. Sword Emperor, you fools actually came to find me. Now you shall all die, ha ha ha. The Sword Emperor's team was looking around the mountain, when Zhao Chun shouted with confidence. Covered in a black energy, so thick it wilted the nature around him. The 5 gasped at his appearance, going at him with full power. Zhao Chun, hand it over or today will be your last. Planning on stealing my cultivation method? Why not die instead, ha ha ha. Zhao Chun disregarded the 5 in his madness, unleashing black palms at the 2 like rain. Devil Palm. Skybreaker. Dazzling Petals. Wailing Wraith. The 5 emperors struck back as well. The earth shook and the sky trembled under their might. Rocks fell in the black cave while the mountains around the area were reduced to dust. Plop. Under the huge backlash, each of them had their meridians strained. The Sword Emperor's group coughed blood and looked weakened. Zhao Chun also spat foul blood, but he still cackled, jumping back at them with all he had despite his wounds. Boom. The devil palms finally thwarted the 5 emperors, with Zhao Chun looming over the defeated with a smug grin. Ha ha ha, I just have to kill them, and then Master will forgive me. With the demonic sovereign's cultivation method, the world will be ours, hee hee hee. Blood rushed out of Zhao Chun's mouth as he spoke, soaking him in it. His mind was focused on the Sword Emperor's group, closing in for the kill. The guys totally lost it. The enchanting empress looked tense. He's badly wounded yet still wants to fight us. He doesn't care about death. That's what makes it so frightening when fighting lunatics. You never know what they're capable of. The Sword Emperor's face shook, looking at Zhao Chun in fear. What's wrong with him? There's no order to his actions, only savagery as he stakes his life. With that cultivation method, he should be cautious, so why risk himself? Why has he gone mad? Damn it, I don't want to die at the hands of a deranged cultivator. The 5 watched as Zhao Chun got closer and closer. Zhao Chun had lost his mind, showing his bloody teeth as he stepped forth. Die, old fools, ha ha ha. The malevolent and terrifying Zhao Chun up and froze in mid-strike. The 5 watched with horror as black energy rushed around him. From inside, wails of agony and terror leaked, like that of a beast. Ah! Zhao Chun flayed on the ground in pain, before the shocked faces of the emperors. What's wrong with him? Zhao Chun's words left them baffled and shivering. And Master, what's happening? Save me, Master. Chapter 1263 Death. Chapter 1263 Death. Proofreader Papatonks. Master, what is he talking about? It can't be Zhu Yifan, right? The enchanting empress raised an eyebrow. Didn't he die thousands of years ago? Why would he be calling his name? The sword emperor looked hard at the black energy and the flaying figure. I got it. His cultivation had been taken so extreme he went insane. He must be feeling guilty about Zhu Yifan, and is hallucinating. He wants to atone, and that's why he calls out. The others found it logical. Zhao Chun had betrayed his master and gotten him killed. He had risen to his master's position as the new demonic emperor. But he had always been feeling guilty for his actions. So this is because his cultivation went astray. They all enjoyed Zhao Chun's torment and agony, even as he squirmed. Zhao Chun wasn't spewing nonsense out of delusions, but really asking for his master's help. However, he should be thankful Zhuo Fan didn't finish the degenerate himself. Idiot! Zhuo Fan sent in Zhao Chen's ear, who flopped on the ground. Master, save me. Can you tell me now what you discovered cultivating the demon transformation art? Help did not come, only Zhuo Fan's question. Zhao Chun was confused. Zhuo Fan said, now you know why I didn't give you the 9 Serenities secret records. You're too greedy and without restraint. The demon transformation art speeds up cultivation. But do you think it'd be easy just by stealing others' efforts? Every time you steal, you must refine and clean your yuan qi. Especially when it comes to taking a person's soul and regrets. It would affect your body and eat you from the inside. I was wrong, master. I shouldn't have rushed it. Please save me. No, you're only half wrong. Zhuo Fan smiled. Even if you trained right, the demon transformation art wouldn't show its effect on you, because it isn't complete. What? I omitted the cultivation method's very first warning, to renounce your old cultivation before starting anew. Zhuo Fan sighed. The demon transformation art wants you to absorb another person's cultivation, and for that, you must start afresh to succeed, or the old will mingle with the new and make progress impossible. The more you absorb, the more you err and the stronger the backlash. Then you, Zhao Chun exclaimed. Zhuo Fan smirked. Yes, I feared you'd not live up to my expectations, so I tinkered with it. You never had the chance of using it right. On the other hand, you're impatient and would have failed even if I gave you the real deal. I did it just to be safe. Ha ha ha. So you came to take revenge on me. Zhao Chun cackled as he lay on his back, the dark energy surrounding him and disintegrating his legs. The pain was excruciating, but he had empty eyes full of despair. The 5 emperors were shocked. Now what's going on? Why did he stop? Zhao Chen's expression was flat. Master, you have the strength to take revenge on all the 8 emperors. Why did you go to such lengths? Fool, you're my disciple. It's your duty to have a taste of the same death I had. Also, letting you practice the demonic sovereign's cultivation method is to show you my inner conflict back then. Or you'd still curse me for being selfish even in death, and that you were right to betray me. Zhao Chen's mouth trembled as he teared up. The demonic sovereign's cultivation method is enticing but also deadly. It looks fast, but it tests your patience. Without self-control, the ending is the same one I'm having. The demon transformation art was the demonic sovereign's top cultivation method, truly demonic. I should have cleared my mind of all demons first before even attempting it. Master, I'm sorry. Zhao Chun cried in regret. Zhuo Fan sighed. Despite being late, you understand in the end. You can give the devil's fruit to others. Master, you trust me that much? Fool, you think I don't know you? What kind of demonic emperor would you be if not taking others down with you? Ha ha ha, yeah, the revenge isn't just for me alone to carry. Zhao Chun sneered and resisted the pain as he made his ring flash to reveal a jade slip. Let me help you, master, in taking revenge, by dragging all these fools to hell. You're the only one I ever respected, master, while holding hatred for them. Whoosh! Zhao Chun lifted his hand and threw the jade slip, right before the 5's eyes. They all looked puzzled. Didn't you want it? Just like thousands of years ago, humph. Zhao Chun let out an eerie smirk. The others scrambled to get it first. The Sword Emperor, the eldest and the most hurt, turned out to be the fastest, holding the jade slip to his chest. The other 4 looked ready to fight him for it. Hey Sword Emperor, don't hog it all. We're in this together. Sword Emperor, hand it over, or you'll be sorry. Wait! The Sword Emperor shouted, startling them and barking. We don't know if it's real or not. Let me check it first. The others agreed, but their eyes never left the old man out of their sights, afraid he might make off with it. The Sword Emperor scanned the jade slip and his eyes lit up. Yes, it's the nether script he shouted about. What are you waiting for? Let me see. The Wraith Emperor and the others were too impatient, but the Sword Emperor held a hand up. Don't get too excited. We need to clarify things first. Save it and hand it over. Do you plan to have it all for yourself? Stop spouting nonsense. Of course we must clarify things. Why did he just give it to us? Zhuo Yifan took it to his grave. Ugh. The other looked at Zhao Chun with doubts. Zhao Chun had the black energy disintegrating him still. There's nothing odd about it, but it's the real deal. Or do you want my ring? You'll take it anyway once I die. As I am now, I can't take the cultivation method with me like my master did. Might as well give it to you, so the sovereign's inheritance isn't lost. Zhao Chun threw them his ring. They scanned it and found it empty. The Sword Emperor nodded. All are honest before death. Zhao Chun, you're wiser than your master. Wise? Ha ha ha, as if. I just want to know what you plan to do with it. The Sword Emperor gave him a look. Why do you want to know? The nether script is a sovereign cultivation method, but there's evil hidden inside. A hungry devil for thousands of years. My death is warranted, but who among you will be next? Ha ha ha. Zhao Chun cackled like a demon from hell as the black energy turned him to dust. The five shivered, not understanding Zhao Chun's last cry. Not that it mattered, since they had their wish, a sovereign's inheritance at long last. All their eyes were consumed by greed. Sword Emperor, each of us will hold a copy of it and cultivate. You can't. The Sword Emperor refused. The other four glared at him. You want it all for yourself. You saw Zhao Chun's end. Do you want to end up the same? The Sword Emperor pointed at the ashes. The others were solemn. Chapter 1264. Automatic Land Seceding. Chapter 1264. Automatic Land Seceding. Proofreader Papatonks. The Sword Emperor gave them a cold glare. Zhao Chun cultivated it and went insane. We all saw how that went. It must be that we struck just as he trained, driving him mad and the cultivation method backlashing. Having others interrupt our cultivation would destroy us as well. What do you propose, Sword Emperor? Do you plan on killing everyone that knows about it, even Zhuo Fan? The Wraith Emperor added. The Sword Emperor shook his head. I have no suggestion. It'd be easy to kill Zhuo Fan, but then the Luo clan will know. We can kill the Luo clan, but then the demonic emperor's lands would be without a head, succumbing to chaos, and drawing the sacred mountain's attention. Furthermore, the sacred mountains intend to replace the 8 emperors. So could we remove them as well? It's more than clear how impossible it is. Then how should we handle it? From Zhao Chun's cultivation, training in nether script has 2 problems. One is time, needing a long and undisturbed period of cultivation. That means we need to enter seclusion, where no one can find us. Then the second is resources that contradicts the first. We need to find a populated area, and that would mean leaving trails that would expose us, just like it did to Zhao Chun. Should we wage war like Zhao Chun? The Wraith Emperor proposed. We can fake conflict and use the war to gather materials. They all nodded. Great idea. It had to be a genius who came up with this grand idea. Oh, that was demonic emperor's aide Zhuo Fan. The enchanting empress shook her head. No, while no one else knows, Zhuo Fan will. But like the Sword Emperor said, taking him out will lead to drawing the sacred mountain's attention. And they warned us not to repeat the past. Zhuo Fan did it because he threatened the 6th sacred mountain. We don't have that leverage. What now? The Wraith Emperor frowned. This won't do, and neither would that. Are we just going to not use this top cultivation method? The Sword Emperor smiled. Only a fool would do that. It all depends whether you are willing to give up your status. What do you mean? Like I said, we need solitude for this art, with only us knowing about it. even from each other. Everyone is aware of our little tricks. We part today, never to contact each other again, so that we don't frame each other and ruin ourselves. They all raised an eyebrow, nodding. All right, then what about materials? We're 8 emperors with large domains. We can just take from all of them. All of them? The enchanting empress shook. With so many people missing, it will catch the attention of the sacred mountains. The Sword Emperor sneered. This is what I want to warn you about. Do you have the gall to abandon your status as one of the 8 emperors? What? Yes, there will be widespread panic as people go missing en masse. It's impossible for us to remain as the 8 emperors. Losing the public's support, you will never be obeyed even with superior strength. Who in the world will stick to a man-eating devil? The Sword Emperor's eyes shone with malice, laughing. It's not pleasant, I know. But we need to become devils to train in this script. Be it righteousness or demonic, we all seek the path to the sovereign stage, the great Tao. A few millions should be enough. Once we step on the sovereign stage, what need do we have of being the 8 emperors? We can even disregard the sacred mountains. The sacred domain will be ours. The Sword Emperor painted a pretty and enticing picture. The others' gazes turned savage as well, nodding. They thus made copies of it, and each went to their sects without looking back. Like they said, the 8 emperors were now no more, but soon they would be the 5 sovereigns. They would meet next only as the rulers of the world, ha ha ha. Whoosh. Zhuofan appeared where Zhaochun disintegrated, grinning. Fool, the geezers bought it. They will soon join you. The 5,000 years long grudge is coming to a close, ha ha ha. He then vanished as well. A month later, on the renovated Devil Mountain, Li Jingtian rushed to Zhuofan with a smile. Steward Zhua, it's just as you said. Those 5 emperors' domains are in a panic. Scores of people are missing overnight. Everything is in chaos. The Ruby Cloud sect and the other sects have closed off from the mortal affairs. No one could get an audience with any of the 8 emperors. They are headless and panicking, hee hee hee. They learned from Zhaochun and think the best way to train is by running away. Now that the leaders are gone, we can take all of their lands. Zhuofan ordered. Elderly, go. Ready the men. Wait, there's no war. Just go take over. The Luo clan is more than experienced in dealing with local thugs. Li Jingtian slapped his chest in confidence. Steward Zhua, in 1.5 months, we'll give you all of the 8 emperors' lands. Once the dragons are ready, we'll be on equal footing with the sacred mountains, hee hee hee. Zhuofan nodded. Qiu Yanhai flashed before the two. Old Qiu, what's wrong? Li Jingtian patted his shoulder. Qiu Yanhai rolled his eyes, bowing to Zhuofan and reporting. Steward Zhua, there are 3 youths from the sacred mountains demanding an audience. They're waiting for the Luo clan. 3? Zhuofan asked. What stage? Peak emperors. Oh, they must be here to replace some of the 8 emperors. Zhuofan guessed. The sacred mountains are worried they can't restrain the mortals, so they sent 3 of them from the start. With the gambling emperor and falcon emperor dead, 2 spots are vacant. The demonic emperor is gone, but no one knows it, while the 5 remaining emperors will never come out. That leaves youths taking over the positions. Humph, we finally got the old fools to shirk their status, and now the sacred mountains came to spoil it. I'll go take their heads. Li Jingtian raged and stomped, but Zhuofan stopped him. Elderly, it's fine. They're nothing but ignorant whelps. A few words from me and they will be in my control. Killing them will ruin things instead. Oh really? Li Jingtian blinked. But Steward Zhua, those superior sacred mountains young masters are so obnoxious in their arrogance. They don't know anything about our world, yet they plan on ruling us. They won't just give their lands to us. Won't it be hard? Hard? No such thing. It's like taking candy from a baby, ha ha ha. Zhuofan laughed. You said it yourself, they don't know anything and act arrogant. Then we will stroke their egos, giving them a little something. While the true power will be with the Luo clan, which is seasoned in handling the lands. The 3 raised an eyebrow then cracked up. Zhuofan went to the Luo clan with Qiu Yanhai to see the young masters. Entering the main hall, they saw 2 youths taking the main seats and grimacing at each sip of tea. Another sat below, dangling his legs in boredom. Entitled pricks at their finest. They take the main seat in another's house and ignore everyone. Zhuo Fan restrained a smile, bowing. Oh, guests from the sacred mountains, forgive my delay. Do you have any idea how long we've waited? You're too damn slow. The youth in the main seat sneered. Zhuo Fan nodded. It's my mistake. It is my fault for being born with only 2 legs and unable to greet you on time. Ha ha ha, elder brother, hear that? Can you imagine a person with 4 legs? That was hilarious. The man in the main seat cracked up with the others joining him. The tense mood was gone in a blink. Luo Yunchang and the girls listened in from outside and giggled. The sacred mountains sent paupers for the 8 emperors. Zhuo Fan was clearly sarcastic, yet they laughed. The scorn flew right over them. By sending these fools to be 8 emperors, the sacred mountains show their utter disregard for human lives beneath their feet. And they expect them to control the sacred domain? Morong Shui lamented over the people's fate, being at the mercy of fools. Chapter 1265 Chaos. Chapter 1265 Chaos. Proofreader, Papatonks. Zhuo Fan bowed with a smile. How may I address you, young masters? Su Tianchuan of the 3rd Sacred Mountain. The leader spoke with his head held high. The second guy chuckled. Chu Xiangfeng of the 5th Sacred Mountain. Wu Qingqiu of the 7th Sacred Mountain. The last one huffed. Zhuo Fan nodded at their self-important introduction. How may I help you young masters today? How? Su Tianchuan mocked. We hear that you're the demonic emperor's aide, and most familiar with the 8 emperors. We came to see you, so that we can understand the situation. Young masters, you honor me. It's nothing great, just. Su Tianchuan frowned. I'm sure you know why we're here. We 3 want to meet with the 8 emperors, and discuss the circumstances of their domains. Yet everywhere we went we found no one. We had no choice but to come to the demonic emperor. But we heard that Devil Mountain was flattened a few months ago. We reckoned that the demonic emperor had to be missing, so we came to you instead. To be frank, the 8 emperors don't look after their lands, going around all day long. Now they vanished out of nowhere? It's outrageous we had to run around all over the place, until we could barely walk. The 3 grew angry. Zhuo Fan smiled and shook his head. Young masters, it's still not my place to speak. It's best to wait for them and clarify things. I'm sorry that I can't stay, but I must get back to work. Hold on. Su Tianchuan shouted. You look like you know something about this. Tell us. Young masters, I'm in no position to discuss the 8 emperors. Hey, I told you to speak. You fear them or us? The 3 glared. They're the 8 emperors, but we'll be part of them soon enough. But we're also part of the sacred mountains. Refuse us and your life is forfeit. Zhuo Fan gasped and played the frightened chicken under that threat. Young masters, how can I not say? Whoosh. The trio looked smugly at him. I only ask that you don't get angry. Zhuo Fan sighed. Young masters, a few months ago, the 8 emperors met and had a heated argument about your arrival at Devil Mountain. What did they argue about? They, Zhuo Fan smirked, argued about how to deal with sirs. What? Bam! They slapped the table in outrage. They have some nerve. Are they itching to die? Young masters, they knew their strength and couldn't be open about it. So they could only operate in hiding. How? Talk already. Who knows? Young masters came to replace some of the 8 emperors. Once this happens, there's no doubt that the sacred mountains will replace all of the 8 emperors. Zhuo Fan looked around and leaned over as he whispered. The Sword Emperor said to never let you succeed. Bam! Su Tianchuan slammed the table hard. Humph, what gall! They can do nothing against us controlling the lands. They don't need to stop you. As long as they don't do anything, you will just screw up naturally. What? Bam! Su Tianchuan punched the table. What did he mean? Hey, don't the sacred mountains as entitled pricks know anything else besides hitting tables? Zhuo Fan's face twitched at the deep palm imprint in the table. He said young masters lack common sense and experience with the people below, and will cause chaos. They just have to wait. Once you ruin everything, the sacred mountains will just call you back and ask them to clean up. That will make 8 emperors crucial to the sacred domain and to the sacred mountains. At the very least, they can't be replaced. Humph, as if those decrepit fools are too cocky. The trio laughed. We are all great talents of the sacred mountains, yet we can't control the meager lands of the emperors. Zhuofan nodded. Yeah, the demonic emperor thought the same, persuading others not to go against you, but he got pulled into hiding with them, to force the mess on you young masters. As a result, the demonic emperor refused and thus. What? They killed the demonic emperor? Zhuofan looked devastated. They said if the demonic emperor helped you, then the sacred mountains would get in their way, and they would become enemies with the mountains, dying in the end. So they killed the demonic emperor and retreated. The disaster on Devil Mountain is proof of this. With 5 against 1, the demonic emperor had no chance. Bam! The 3 slapped the table again. Outrageous. They aren't loyal and stop others from being loyal to us as well. Are those bastards underestimating us? Humph, we'll look after your lands and set them straight. Just you wait. The trio flicked their sleeves and walked out with supreme confidence. Young masters, aren't you here to replace 3 emperors? This is the best chance. The gambling emperor and falcon emperor are gone, while the demonic emperor is dead as well. Young masters can just take their lands. You'll take it for now while we go after the 5 emperors' lands to settle. Su Tianchuan waved carelessly and laughed. We'll show those hiding fools how their lands will be peaceful without them. Nothing will change. They still want to be emperors? As if ha ha ha. The trio laughed and faded away. Zhuofan grinned in disdain. Bunch of fools is what you are. I'll be waiting here for you to come crying back. Whoosh. Li Jingtian came over. Steward Zhua. Should we continue our takeover with them taking over? Wait a few days. Zhuofan chuckled. Once they send the lands into chaos, we have the perfect reason to take them for ourselves, ha ha ha. Li Jingtian snickered along. 3 months later, Devil Mountain was restored and Zhuofan sat in the main hall's main seat with a grin. After so many years, I'm back where I was. Steward Zhua. Li Jingtian rushed in with a grin. They're all in chaos, ha ha ha. Zhuofan asked, what chaos? The emperor's lands, all are in chaos besides ours. Li Jingtian was excited. Those 5 went into hiding to kidnap people. Then, when people's fears were greatest, the sacred mountains youths came to take over. The people were hopeful and the youths happy, thinking they'd soon found the missing people. Only there has been no clue as to where they went. The report angered the young masters, saying the old fools were messing with their affairs. So they were punished, stipulating that they had to find the missing people in 3 days, or all heads will roll. As you can imagine, thousands of people died, whole clans and even children. Now everyone lives in fear of the 3 young masters. Now they themselves have no one to order around, with the people leaving their homes and lives they built for generations instead of dealing with them, while the population in the demonic emperor's domain is growing constantly. Zhuofan nodded. I knew those pricks were crude and would mess up the lands big time. They only care for results and not the people. Soon, those lands will be left empty. Right? Those 3 are getting restless too, going after the fleeing people. If one escapes, their whole family is executed. They made a slaughterhouse, wanting to kill people for staying and for leaving, ha ha ha. Zhuofan leaned back on his seat. With the lands in chaos, they will soon turn to us, ha ha ha. Chapter 1266, Emperor Lands Takeover. Chapter 1266, Emperor Lands Takeover. Proofreader, Papatonks. In a refined study, Chu Xiangfeng was pacing around anxiously and was soaked in his own sweat. Su Tianchuan held a jade slip and muttered to himself. He ended up smashing it on the table to pieces, looking up with a frown. How do we reply? Reply to what? Wu Qianqiu's face shook, looking pained. We're 3 months into our mission, and the elders asked us about the situation. How do we answer? Everyone is fleeing from us. Many clans that mine and gather herbs all went into hiding. The resources have completely stopped being sent to the sacred mountains. How do we explain this to the elders? Think of something. I have. We tried everything we could think of, threats and rewards, but nothing works. We don't have any more people, they're gone. We're from the sacred mountains, yet why are they leaving us? Su Tianquan's face twitched and grimaced. It has to be a ploy the 8 emperors are playing. They want us to become laughingstocks. How else do you explain the ruined control after all the hard work we've done? We've always been focused on searching for the missing people, so why are the rest leaving us? Something is afoot for sure. Yes, these wretched people should die for not living up to our goodwill. Chu Xiangfeng's eyes flashed as he spat. I've never worked harder in my life. Yet they're still ungrateful? Elder brother. I say we're too lenient and need to be harsher. The next group of people that leave or stop gathering are to be killed along with their entire clan for 10 generations. Include the neighbors as well. Kill all of them. I refuse to believe they'll run then. Humph. Bam! Su Tianquan slammed the table. All you know is killing. What use would that do? Instead of running, they're dead. What do you suggest, elder brother? Su Tianquan squinted. Where are they going anyway? A few live in remote areas while most go to the demonic emperor's domain. The demonic emperor? Su Tianquan muttered. The demonic emperor is dead, with no one governing them. Yet they're still going there? Steward Zhuofan must have some skill like they say, since he has the least chaotic area, with no independent warlords present. We made slight mistakes here, but we're still united here. There's no war, so there's no reason to run away, especially over there. Brother's right. The other two agreed. They were wrong about one thing. Even without Zhuofan, the demonic emperor's lands would still be stronger even with their infighting. Pa! Su Tianquan slapped the table again. Let's go see Zhuofan. Elder brother, what for? To help us with the chaos. You can't. Chu Xiangfeng shook his head. That will mean we're as useless as the 8 emperors say. It's a disgrace. Su Tianquan mocked. You call that disgrace? Zhuofan is but a steward, not one of the 8 emperors. The demonic emperor used him for his assistance, and so can we. We'll still earn the credit for it. We have to do something, or this year's transport of resources to the sacred mountains won't happen. When our masters and senior uncles come and find out the mess we're in, won't we disgrace ourselves by calling back the 8 emperors? Then the sacred mountains will have no reason to replace them, and we'll be the laughingstock for ruining those old guys' plans. Chu Xiangfeng gave a heavy nod. A month later, the 3 walked in with their heads held high into Devil Mountain's main hall. Zhuofan welcomed them with a smile and a bow. Young masters, you honor us with your visit. Enough crap, we need you for something. Su Tianquan grew impatient as he sat down on the main seat. The other 2 sat at his side. What do you think this is, your house? Zhuofan's face twitched. Ha ha ha, how may I be of service? Nothing much, we just encountered a slight setback in our lands. Can you handle it? Slight. Morons, you call everyone jumping ship a slight setback? These guys have no idea of the severity of it all. The leaders all knew that population was production, fighting force and generated talent. The 8 emperors looked at who was strongest in terms of lands, but it was actually population. Who had the most people was the strongest. The 8 emperors fought for lands to gain their resources, but also the people. The bigger the domain, the more people it could hold. No matter how deep the grudges, they would never touch the common folk, only another emperor's men. Once the population dropped, it would affect their position, their life and their fate. But these brats call the loss of people a slight setback. Humph, they'd have been killed ages ago if not for sacred mountains having their backs, regardless of being new 8 emperors. It was also why Zhuofan only thought of the insults and didn't voice them. Since I can't touch you, I'll just control you, Humph. Zhuofan put on a sinister smile. It can't be easier. Oh, Su Tianquan asked. You can make the fleeing people return and pacify them. Zhuofan nodded. It's very easy. When it comes to pacifying, I'm quite good at it. You can see for yourself how there's not the slightest trouble even with the inflow of people into the demonic emperor's domain. Then we'll leave it to you. Bye. Su Tianchuan stood and left in a good mood, already celebrating his win. Zhuo Fan rushed to say, wait. Wah. Without the demonic emperor, everyone is only listening to me, because the demonic emperor had given me his power before he died. I am the head steward here, but to intervene in your lands, I will also need a name to earn people's trust and make things smoother. Easy, we'll call you whatever you want. Su Tianchuan clapped his hands. From now on, you are the great steward of all the 8 emperors' lands. Your word is our word. We're behind you all the way. Anyway, it's in your hands now. Do it well, and you'll be rewarded. Fail, and it's off with your head. Zhuo Fan nodded with a smile. Understood. The 3 of them left in joy. Zhuo Fan called Li Jingtian over. It's time for us to take all the 8 emperors' lands. You know what to do. Worry not, Steward Zhuo. We're doing as you asked and taking care of all incoming people into the demonic emperor's domain, instilling in them the highest opinion of the Luo clan's honor and kindness. As long as we take them back, we will soon take all the power of all the lands. He. Zhuo Fan nodded. Go. He used the 3 useless bums of the sacred mountains to get his hands on all the lands. For whoever had the people's ear had the world. And to win their ear, one needed to get their respect. All who received the Luo clan's care went back home at the clan's request, proclaiming its honor and kindness. Thus, all the suffering people branded the clan as their savior. The Luo clan's experts were assigned new posts to pacify the people, making it that much easier. In order to quash the panic, Zhuo Fan used his new title the entitled pricks gave him to remove their harsh laws with kinder treatment. He took out many of the clan's assets to re-establish the people that had left. Of course, Zhuo Fan did not forget to leave the right name behind when doing every good deed. The Luo clan thus became the most respected clan everywhere. When the clan also found some criminals that kidnapped people, their popularity was at an all-time high. The Sacred Mountains pricks were nothing compared to the Luo clan, who actually showed results. The 3 ruled in name only, while the people only answered to the Luo clan. Zhuo Fan got his wish in uniting all the lands in just half a year, with the approval of those 3. This was far easier than imposing his own will on them. The local rulers were more than happy the Luo clan came to govern them, making no trouble whatsoever. They hailed them as their saviors from a world of hurt. Chapter 1267, Nitpicking. Chapter 1267, Nitpicking. Proofreader Papatonks. The criminals are only scapegoats. In a study, Zhuo Fan wore a smile as he bowed to the shocked Su Tianchuan. Chu Xiangfeng looked skeptical. You're saying you have no clue why so many people are missing? Yes, but we don't need to find out anyway. Why? Ha, people care for stability. With so many missing persons, it weighs heavy on their mind, making them uneasy. It's good the missing people happened over a short period. The culprit must have gone into hiding. To calm the populace, we just have to find some scapegoats. Zhuo Fan laughed, leaving the 3 young masters speechless. Su Tianchuan sighed. That's just wicked. Steward Zhuo, how do we reply to this jade slip when the missing people matter isn't solved? Easy, just don't include it. Zhuo Fan snickered. Young masters, with the whole of the 8 emperors' lands at peace, you can say you've done all you can to make production thrive, and leave out the small stuff including this. The missing people case can't be reported, or it will affect your reputation. Su Tianchuan hesitated. Won't that mean lying to the elders? How adorable and gullible. Young Master Su, it's not lying but thoughtfulness. Zhuo Fan duped. Young Master, the seniors on the Sacred Mountains have a lot on their minds, and are worried about you. Telling them every little setback will only make them anxious. It's all in the past now anyway. The results are also good, and there's no need to make them angry. It would be very bad if they end up disappointed in you. The 3 nodded, with Chu Xiangfeng smiling. Oh, Steward Zhuo is right. Elder brother, let's not bother Master and the others. We have to think of them as well. Ha, right, thoughtful being a caring disciple is important. Su Tianchuan was awkward, but he sighed in the end. He had no intention of reporting something he failed to do. What he was most afraid of was the other two pinning it on him. It was best for all three to come to a decision together. Then there's Steward Zhua. Su Tianchuan smiled. Thank you for your proposal, Steward Zhua. I'll be sure not to inconvenience our elders, ha ha ha. That isn't good either. Zhua Fan now behaved modestly. The Sacred Mountain's elders love their disciples. They must care so much about you, and since no one is perfect, they can overlook some mistakes you make as part of the new 8 emperors. By saying so, you make them worry again, since they think you're overworking for their sake. Then what do you propose? Just add some slight incongruities. Zhua Fan put on a sinister smile, whispering, nothing too important, only the small stuff. While the missing persons case is to be omitted, you could just say that only 10 or 100 went missing. You won't say that you haven't found the culprits, but that you had a hard time finding some accomplices after months of searching, then executed them. I believe the seniors would be proud of you. The trio nodded with joy, and Su Tianchuan wrote a reply under Zhua Fan's indications. The Sacred Mountains sent these 3 to become part of the 8 emperors, but really to grasp more concrete control over everything. But a couple words from Zhua Fan, and the pricks ended up in his control instead. Su Tianchuan laughed as he finished. Steward Zhua, you're amazing. Please prepare a draft before each report from now on. My thoughts exactly. This would pull the wool over the Sacred Mountain's eyes, blind to the real situation in the sacred domain. Besides, the rear was now assured, and all he had to do was wait for the dragons to give the signal to attack the Sacred Mountains. Zhua Fan was meticulous, looking after the smallest detail. But when man proposes, God disposes. Luring the 8 emperors away from the big picture, and letting them nibble at the sacred domain would turn out to be a pickle later on. Something even Zhua Fan didn't expect. He was no god after and wasn't all-knowing. Whoosh! A jade slip flew inside a large hall on the 7th sacred mountain, landing in an elder's hand. He smiled, and as he read, the plan is going smoothly. The brats are doing a decent job. I was worried they might mess it up. This shows our disciples are the best of the best, true paragons, ha ha ha. We sent the 3 ahead to get used to things there. But now it seems the 8 emperors' lands will soon be a part of the Sacred Mountains. We'll know the instant the fated man appears, and be there to snatch the opportunity. Another elder agreed. The others looked just as pleased. The 7 sacred mountains had been the peak of humanity ever since they came to be formed. But 100 years ago, the sky changed that, a sign that a new human would take the throne and even become sovereign. They could never tolerate anyone better than them, or let this event birth a sovereign, so they chose to control everything to stop it. Only they had the right to ascend to sovereignty. What of old he from the 6th sacred mountain? While the mountain lords convene, he's running off somewhere. One elder glanced at the empty chair. The elder in the main seat chuckled. No point in waiting for him. He won't come. Why? Haven't you heard? His son was killed near Ruby Cloud Sect. The people below are still searching for clues over the past year without results. He could no longer wait and went down himself. Himself? A mountain lord, ha ha ha. Doesn't he have capable people? That was before. And now? There's been no message from any of them for a year. Someone must have got to them. Oh, they all cried out. First his son and now the scouts? Someone's after our 7 sacred mountains. Or is it just the 6th sacred mountain? An elder with a beard shook his head. Troubled times are coming. Maybe the omen of 100 years ago is taking place. In the enchanting Empress lands, a rough man with a bamboo hat walked on a crowded street. He glanced around and grabbed a woman's arm. She cried out, "What are you doing? Where's the enchanting Empress?" "I don't know. You're wearing Ruby Cloud Sect's attire, so how can you not know? Talk." The big man had a tight grip on her hand. She teared up under the pain. "I really don't know. Master vanished overnight along with many of my sisters. Let go of me." "How come you're still here?" "I went to see my lover that night, and found them gone when I came back." The big man paused and gave her an odd look. "What's going on?" The broads ran too fast. Was it out of guilt over my son's death? He showed his bearded face and threw the woman aside. But then he asked, anything strange happened before the enchanting empress left? Maybe she acted oddly? Nothing, just... What? Shortly after she vanished, many cities around became void of people. The same happened to other emperors' lands. All the people vanished. The mountain lord's suspicion grew. And the same occurred in the other lands. Yes. Curses, just who can do it? Who can take so many people without a sign? The mountain lord frowned. Even a saint can't do it. Unless they listen to his orders. But who is it? The mountain lord was deep in thought, giving the chance for the woman to escape, as she cursed him for being insane. Chapter 1268, Madness. Chapter 1268, Madness. Proofreader Papatonks. Ignoring the fleeing woman, Mountain Lord he focused on his own thoughts. A shout broke through his concentration, with the street bustling with activity. Look, the Luo clan made an announcement. Everyone rushed in that direction, leaving Mountain Lord he baffled. There's nobody surnamed Luo among the 8 emperors. Mountain Lord he walked over as well, and saw a golden paper on the gatehouse. His eyes picked up on Zhuofan's name. Where have I heard this name? Mountain Lord he muttered. The enchanting empress said that the demonic emperor had a shrewd man under him related to Chu Qingcheng. But since he's working for the demonic emperor, what's he doing in the enchanting empress lands? While he was baffled, the people around him started talking and cleared his doubts. The Luo clan is honorable and kind. They looked after us in our time of need, and now they're saying they're using their own wealth to help rebuild our homes. It's such a blessing to have them governing us instead. Those 8 emperors fought non-stop, and we could only bear the suffering. With the Luo clan in charge of all the lands and Steward Zhuo's eminent status, the world is at peace, ha ha ha. Luo clan ruling the 8 lands. Mountain Lord he grabbed a man and shouted, what the hell are you spouting? Aren't they under the 8 emperors? How can the Luo clan take over? The man winced in pain and looked at him with apprehension. Have you been living under a rock or something? That's old news. A year ago, 3 emperors died and the rest vanished. There's no 8 emperors anymore. What about the new emperors from the sacred mountains? Did they run away? Them? At their mention, the man looked sneered despite the pain. You call those devils emperors? They threw all the lands in chaos the minute they took charge. There were more deaths than from even an 8 emperors war. Plus, to make matters worse, those 3 devils were unreasonable. It's only thanks to the Luo clan's kindness and Steward Zhuo's wise guidance that this mess was dealt with. Or all of the emperor's lands would have been deserted, with people fleeing into the mountains. Just ask around. Everyone hates those pricks. We'd have long since revolted if not for them, having the sacred mountains behind them. Mountain Lord he's hand shook and he released him. Where are the fools now? Who knows? Anyway, we all follow the Luo clan's lead. No one cares about them. Guess they couldn't live with the shame of staying around, and must have run back to sacred mountains. Pa! A crisp slap rang, and the person tumbled to the ground with a bleeding mouth from the shattered teeth. Why did you hit me? It's already enough mercy that I only slapped you after you slandered the sacred mountain's disciples. Mountain Lord he glared. Beat it. The man flinched and scrambled away. The crowd scattered to stay clear of his ire. Only Mountain Lord he was left, along with the bright and dazzling announcement. He tore the announcement to pieces before walking away with pride. Humph, I'll check on the Ruby Cloud sect first. I'll handle the Luo clan later. An hour later, Mountain Lord he was before Ruby Cloud sect, finding it run down and deserted. Mountain Lord he roared, Enchanting Empress, show yourself. The booming voice shook the heavens, and the mountain range trembled. Alas, no one came to meet him. Mountain Lord he was looking dark. That broad is hiding. But where did she go? Crack. At the sound, Mountain Lord he shot over there, and arrived at a spring where someone was shaking like a leaf. He yanked the girl's shoulder. Don't kill me. Master, don't kill me. The girl's messy hair was blown away, and he recognized her as a Ruby Cloud sect disciple. He cried, Where's the enchanting empress? Talk. Enchanting empress. The woman's spirit snapped and she wailed. No, don't kill me, master, please. What could have driven this girl to madness? Mountain Lord, he looked at her with a cold eye and pierced her skull with his fingers, letting the blood dye her face red. The girl's eyes bugged out and she grimaced in pain. Mountain Lord, he showed an evil smile. Girl, don't worry. The soul-separating art will trigger your memories so you can remember. Now tell me, who are you? Ruby Cloud Sect's head disciple Fong Min. The woman's face swelled like a red balloon, stammering from pain. Her answer was flat, like her mind was gone. Her soul was in this guy's hand, making it impossible to lie. Even mad as she was, her soul still held memories as she retold everything she knew. Mountain Lord, he said. Do you know where the enchanting empress went? Yes, Hidden Dragon Mountain, Broken Cave. What's she doing there? Sea cultivating. Cultivating what? Mountain Lord, he roared. Fong Min's terror was reawakened, and her soul trembled as her face grimaced harder. I don't know. And Master turned scary. She's turning people to dust, and her temper is getting wilder. She can't have enough people, so she used my sisters to train. Even Senior Aunt May fell. I managed to escape amidst the chaos. She wants to get me back. No, I can't go back. I can't act. Fong Min's eyes were filled with terror, and her soul reacted the same way. With a boom, she detonated her spirit, ravaging the deserted Ruby Cloud sect, leveling half of it. When the dust settled, Mountain Lord, he brushed away the dirt on his clothes and looked puzzled. The enchanting empress kidnapped people to cultivate? But what kind of evil skill is she training in to cause her disciple to go mad? Mountain Lord, he sneered. Fine. I'll see for myself what you broads are up to. Mountain Lord, he vanished. 2 weeks later, before Broken Cave on Hidden Dragon Mountain, there was blood everywhere. He knew he was at the right place and rushed inside. The scene shocked him to the core. The cavern was huge, yet before him, the mountains of bones almost filled it. There was also a lot of dust and scraps of clothing everywhere. It looked more like a graveyard. Waving the dust away and the scraps, Mountain Lord, he grasped one clothing scrap in particular. This was very familiar to him, belonging to his son. It was the same one Enchanting Empress showed it to him. And now he was seeing it here. Rotten Biddy, get out now. You killed my son, didn't you? I'll rip you to pieces for fooling me. Mountain Lord, he roared, and the mountain shook. Tornadoes wrecked the cavern. Hi hi hi. A shrill cry reached his ears, and a woman in gorgeous clothing appeared among the ashes. Her hair was messy, and she had a dark face with black energy oozing out of her. Her eyes looked distressed, but more mad than anything. Brother Dong, you finally came to see me. When will you take me to the sacred mountains for us to live together? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.